Welcome, witches, wizards, and muggles alike. I'm Erin.
I'm Tom.
And this is Baby's First Watch List, the podcast that now has lots of special guests.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Today, we are discussing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And we have here our future brother-in-law, Uncle Alex.
Woo! Thanks for having me.
Alex wanted to do Showman, but we made him do Harry Potter instead.
He'll be back for Showman.
Yeah, I'll be back for that.
So 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone actually is only called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in 3 countries. Did you see which countries?
I know America.
Do you know?
No.
Any guesses?
New Zealand?
You think New Zealand? And what's your third guess?
No, I'm going to go with Canada, Mexico, United States.
Okay, what do you think?
China?
China? You're all wrong. It's the United. It's very obvious once you know. The United States, India, and the Philippines.
Okay.
Of course.
Duh, the big 3.
Oh.
Elsewhere, in every other country, it is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It was adapted from the 1997 book of the same name by J.K. Rowling. Tom, take it away.
J.K. Rowling sucks.
We denounce J.K. Rowling's views on stuff. There you go. This movie, directed by Chris Columbus of Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire fame, was written by Steve Kloves. So Steve Kloves wrote Wonder Boys. Do you remember that movie, Tom?
I do.
I hated that movie.
It's funny because when we watch stuff, you're like, "Oh, that was okay," and then like 3 months later, it's like, "I hated
it.
It wasn't very good.
It was dumb.
I didn't like it very much.
It was just like Michael Douglas, like,
But that was
hey.
But that was the movie that you could tell that Tobey Maguire got Spider-Man from.
Yeah, because he was sad.
He was like the exact same character,
Emo sad
except
boy.
like worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a weird movie. Very strange. But Steve Kloves also wrote
Thanks, Steve.
all but one of the Harry Potter movies.
Really?
Do you want to guess which Harry Potter movie he did not write?
Prisoner of Azkaban.
You think number 3? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say Goblet of Fire.
You're both wrong.
Wow.
It's Order of the Phoenix.
Okay. I was thinking Prisoner of Azkaban because I thought that might have just been Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah. No, he wrote it. He's known for sort of adapting novels into movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he also did the something Baker Boys, like the Fabulous Baker Boys or something that was pretty popular. Other notable names in this production are cinematographer John Seal, who's an Oscar winner for shooting The English Patient, and of course John Williams, who did the music.
Oh, I actually don't have anything about the music.
Well, it was John Williams.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Ding, ding,
Hedwig's
ding,
theme.
Ding, ding, ding.
I do have a fun fact for you right off top.
What?
Hedwig isn't named in this movie, but that's still called Hedwig's theme.
The owl.
Wow.
Yeah, because we know it's Hedwig.
Yeah, right.
Yo, what
We all
up?
know.
Yeah.
And
But they never actually say this owl's name is Hedwig.
That's weird.
Interesting.
John Williams is also known for Star Wars, Jaws.
Superman? I think he did
all
the
kinds
main
of
Superman theme.
Well, he worked with Chris Columbus previously on the Home Alone 1 and 2.
He is maybe the most famous composer in the history of movies. Him, Hans Zimmer, like there's a few of them.
Danny Elfman. It's the big
Elfman.
3.
I was
The big
looking
elf.
into like events that were going to be in Denver when we're going to be in Denver. The only thing so far that I saw was a John Williams tribute orchestra
That is sick, actually.
performance.
That'd be fun.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, oh my god, he did all the Spielberg stuff. You said Jaws. He did Star Wars. He did Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He did Superman. I was right about that. Raiders. He did all the Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
E.T. He's like a big Spielberg head.
That's so cool.
And Spielberg almost did Harry Potter 1.
I
Correct.
do talk about
Which-
that.
oh.
Actually.
He did Jurassic Park
That
as
would
well.
have been interesting.
Released in late November 2001, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is a long but kind of must-have 152 minutes long. And it was a critical and commercial success. It had like 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some people like hated it, but other people really liked it. Someone said that they wish Tim Burton would have been the director.
I think that would have been bad.
Yeah, I don't know. If
I
agree
think
with that.
I would go Spielberg eons before I would go Tim Burton
Yeah.
for this movie.
So Harry Potter had a $125 million budget. and it made $1.017 billion.
They re-released it to get it over the top.
Yeah,
$1 billion.
exactly. Originally, directors like Steven Spielberg, Rob Reiner, and Terry Gilliam were considered. That's who J.K. Rowling wanted.
I saw that.
Spielberg originally wanted to make an animated Harry Potter with Haley Joel Osment playing the title character. So he ended up declining. He did artificial intelligence, AI, instead. And Rowling insisted... Rowling? Who is that? Rowling insisted... When I first read Harry Potter, I thought Hermione was pronounced Hermione.
I bet many people did.
Yeah.
And I thought it was J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Rowling insisted that the cast be entirely composed of British and Irish actors. Although apparently the thing you just said negates that.
What?
That Griphook was played by Vern Troyer.
Yeah, but he was voiced by Warwick Davis. We said this. I said this off camera, by the way. It's not like you didn't miss anything.
They did a casting call for the 3 leads, and that's where Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint were found.
Did you read more about their process with them?
Not really.
There was a good Rupert Grint sent in a rap about Ron to get cast. Oh my god! And Daniel Radcliffe came from David Copperfield, and I forget which one of them it was. Found him and was like, I think this guy's good, and this kid's good, and they had a whole bunch of people that they brought in for the process, and he just ended up being the guy. They didn't want him because he had stage parents. But they eventually got over that and were like, yeah, he's the one.
Yeah. I wonder, what about Emma Watson?
I think hers was just sort of a conventional...
they just like her.
Yeah.
So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was the highest grossing film of 2001. And at the time of its release, the second highest at the time of highest grossing. My guess is Titanic.
Yeah.
It was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Original Score, Best Art Direction, and Best Character Dudley.
The only award for Best Dudley Dursley ever awarded at the Oscars.
No, the third one was Best Costume Design. So after...
Well, it was for Dudley's outfit.
Yeah.
With the hat.
Obviously. So the Smeltings uniform.
Yep.
So,
he's like, am I going to have to wear that? And they're like, Harry, you're not going to Smeltings.
So there's 7 books in the original Harry Potter series. There's 8 movies total. There's a spin-off series, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. There's when it came out, there were Mattel dolls, Legos, video games. That was one of the 2 games I had on my Game Boy. The other was the Shrek boxing game. There's theme park lands at Universal Studios. There's just tons of merchandise everywhere. There's always been tons of merch.
I had little gems that they sold as stone, Sorcerer stones.
Gems.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I had a pillow that was the Sorting Hat on a pillow, and then there were ribbons with the 4 things attached.
I can't imagine a more horrifying thing to go to sleep on.
I also had a notebook that I had that was a Hogwarts
I had
thing.
one too.
And then I took it upon myself to make myself a schedule, and I'd be potions with Snape, sad face, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Really?
And then
Snape's not teaching class at 9 a.m.
My fancy oh my god, I'm so smart little thing, I put Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher ? Question mark.
True fan alert.
Yeah. Electus Caro.
So I was super into Harry Potter growing up. I had
Same.
I had pajamas. I had the whole shebang. So I'll
played
talk
all the video games.
Big fan of the video games as well.
I'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm asking about memories about the first movie or reading the first book. So we can get to that later.
Yep.
But so it's pretty much, it was a huge phenomenon. I can't believe that the last movie came out in 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
12 years.
Yeah. So.
And I will say, I will add on to what I said before. It really sucks that J.K. Rowling is a terrible person, because this has had a large impact on my adolescence and childhood and all that.
We have a lot of friends that have Harry Potter tattoos and stuff.
Yeah.
I know multiple people.
Yeah, me too.
Permanent, which, man, good on you guys, but I'd be mad right now.
I know. I know.
All right, that's like if I got like a Game of Thrones tattoo, but like for the movie or for the TV show.
Yeah, for
and
the
then
last
right
season.
before
Right.
the last season came
Right.
out, I'd be like, "Are
Right.
you serious right now?"
Yeah.
All right. So Tom, give us a like super short
Yeah,
summary.
this is gonna be super short. Strap in, people. I'm like, this is a whole book.
Yeah, it's a book.
All right.
It's 152 minutes of movie.
So, late one night, a tall, white-haired man wearing half-moon spectacles named Albus Dumbledore. I said Alvis.
Albus.
Albus.
Butler vibes.
Albus Dumbledore, played by Richard Harris, as well as a witch named Minerva McGonagall, played by Dame Maggie Smith,
Yeah.
along with a massive bearded man named Rubius Hagrid, played by the recently deceased Robbie Coltrane, R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
Wait, this didn't happen, right? In
yes,
the
it did.
books?
It did.
This was the first thing in the
They
book?
name dropped Sirius Black in the first chapter.
I am like dumb.
Yeah.
I need to reread.
Yeah. These three convene in a small, quaint neighborhood on 4 Privet Drive in Surrey, England. The trio of odd-looking individuals is there to deliver an orphaned infant with a lightning bolt scar on his forehead named Harry Potter to his ultra-conventional, insensitive, negligent aunt and uncle, Petunia and Vernon Dursley, Harry's only living relatives.
I mean, king and queen.
Yeah, I mean, they're incredible. The Dursleys decide to conceal Harry's magical heritage from him and make him live in a cupboard under the stairs for 10 years,
A decade.
raising him as a clear second fiddle to their dear son, Dudley. Dudders.
Diddykins.
On Dudley's birthday, after he throws a tantrum for receiving one fewer present than he did the year before, the family heads to the zoo along with the now nearly 11-year-old Harry, played by Daniel Radcliffe. At the zoo, they visit the reptile house as Dudley ogles a sleeping boa constrictor, banging on the glass to wake it up. Suddenly, the glass vanishes and Dudley falls into the enclosure while the snake escapes, whispering thanks to Harry before slithering off.
Okay, I always thought parcel tongue reminded me of parsley tongue.
All right. A couple of weeks later, just before Harry's 11th birthday, he receives a letter in the post. Vernon, his uncle, however, reads and burns the letter before Harry has a chance to look at its contents. However, the sender does not give up, and the Dursleys receive successively larger numbers of the same letter from owls outside. Owls, correct. After dozens of owls send hundreds of more letters to the Dursleys' home on a Sunday, they flee to an island hut in the middle of a massive storm. Was that like an Airbnb? How did like?
I thought the same.
What is this?
I think
place?
it's their like vacation home, but like they left. They went
Jeez.
on like a time where like they normally wouldn't,
Right.
Because they're just like we have to get out of here.
in the middle of July.
Oh yeah, it is July.
Yeah.
Why is it that bad in July?
I don't know. Suddenly, who busts down the massive wooden door but Hagrid to personally deliver a birthday cake and, more importantly, Harry's letter of acceptance to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. After terrifying the Dursleys by bending up Vernon's shotgun with his bare hands and magically putting a pig's tail on Dudley's rear end for trying to eat all of Harry's cake, Hagrid also reveals that Harry's parents, James and Lily Potter, were famous wizards killed by a dark wizard named Lord Voldemort. This, if I were Harry, I would like pass out. I would be like, what is all this? It would be such information overload. I'd be
Doesn't
like,
make sense. I'd be like, okay.
The Dursleys admit the truth that Harry's parents did not die in a car crash as they had told Harry, but Petunia's sister Lily became a freak, and they didn't want Harry to grow up in that life performing magic tricks. Voldemort is still so feared that wizarding folk refer to him merely as you-know-who or he who must not be named. The killing curse that Voldemort had cast rebounded, destroying Voldemort's body and giving Harry his lightning bolt scar. And throughout all of this, Hagrid, disgusted with the Dursleys' disrespect for both Harry and Albus Dumbledore, takes Harry away to help him pick up school supplies. They head to Diagon Alley, a magical marketplace behind an unassuming pub in which Harry is confused to learn that he is famous. In the pub, he meets his future Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, Quirrell, played by Ian Hart, a timid man wearing a turban. After that, Hagrid takes Harry to Gringotts Bank, where Harry learns that he is wealthy.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Hella rich.
He said, "I'm buy all these chocolate frogs."
They then visit a secret vault, and Hagrid takes an undisclosed item, and he also reveals to Harry... never mind, I messed that up. With his newfound fortune, Harry picks up a cauldron, some books, and a pet snow owl. He also visits Ollivander the wand salesman, who matches him with a wand that is curiously connected to Voldemort's wand that was used to kill his parents. Hagrid leaves Harry at King's Cross Station. He literally ghosts him at King's Cross.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Where he's told to head for platform 9 3/4, which of course earns him a scoff from a transit employee that he speaks to. At that moment, an entire red-headed family headed by matriarch Molly Weasley helps her 4 sons Percy, twins Fred and George, and Ron, played by Rupert Grint, through the bricks to platform 9 3/4 along with Harry. Harry sits on the Hogwarts Express, which is just a giant train that goes to Hogwarts, and he chops it up with Ron about some magical items like chocolate frogs, which contain trading cards, as well as Bertie Bott's every flavor beans and all that kind of stuff. Soon thereafter, Hermione Granger, played by Emma Watson, a brainiac muggle-born witch, pops by their cart on the train and introduces herself. When they arrive at Hogwarts, Harry also meets Draco Malfoy, played by Tom Felton, who is from a wealthy pureblood wizard family and offers Harry a spot in his crew alongside the illustrious Vincent Crabbe and, is it Gregory Goyle?
Yeah, I think it's Gregory.
I wrote that and I forgot to double check it. But Harry declines. The students assemble in the Great Hall where the Sorting Hat sorts the first years into 4 respective houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Harry is placed into Gryffindor alongside Ron and Hermione, though the Sorting Hat does hesitate, considering placing Harry into Slytherin, while Draco is, to the surprise of no one, sorted into Slytherin, a house noted for dark wizards.
Not Slytherin, eh?
The best is the Sorting Hat like not even making it to Draco's head.
It like grazes one hair.
Yeah,
and
Slytherin!
Slytherin!
Harry meets some friends in Gryffindor, including the forgetful Neville Longbottom, the magically inept Seamus Finnegan, and of course Ron's brothers Fred, George, and Percy again. We're also introduced to magical creatures like the house ghosts, including Gryffindor ghost Sir Nicholas, aka Nearly Headless Nick, which really fleshes out the world. I liked when they did like the little stuff like that, even though those characters aren't really in it later on. At the end of their first week of classes, Harry and Ron discover that Gringotts, the Wizarding Bank, was broken into, and the secret vault that Harry and Hagrid had visited was the subject of that robbery.
Curious.
During Broom's class, Harry discovers a natural talent for broomstick flying, following a confrontation with Malfoy, and this leads to Professor McGonagall, the head of Gryffindor House, not punishing Harry, no, but recruiting him as the youngest ever seeker for Gryffindor's Quidditch team in a century. I guess not youngest ever. Youngest in a century.
Yeah.
While returning to the Gryffindor common room, the staircases change paths, leading Harry, Ron, and Hermione to the restricted corridor on the 3rd floor, where they discover a giant 3-headed dog, which we later find out is named Fluffy.
Cute.
Shortly thereafter, on Halloween, Ron insults Hermione after she corrects his spellcasting of a Wingardium Leviosa spell in Charms class.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Swish and flick. Upset, Hermione spends the afternoon crying in one of the girls' bathrooms. And that night, in the Great Hall during dinner, Professor Quirrell sprints in during dinner to exclaim,
"Troll in the dungeon! Thought you ought to know."
before passing out. The troll enters the bathroom Hermione was crying in as Harry and Ron head over to rescue her, and the 3 become close friends after Hermione takes the blame to the professors by claiming she went looking for the troll, which is a big move for her.
Yeah.
From what we know for at
She's
that point,
ride or die,
she's a rule follower. She's all that, and she was even mad at them. But like for her to be like to the professors, like this was my fault, even though it really wasn't. Like it was like whatever. That was a big
Also,
big character moment for her.
Definitely.
FYI, Steve. I was gonna say Steve Cleve. Who wrote it? Steve, my guy.
Steve.
The writer.
Cloves.
Steve A.
Cloves.
He
Think of like the herb. Or spice,
he
whatever it is.
was J.K. Rowling was like skeptical of him, and then when they first met,
I read this.
she was like, "Oh, I bet he's gonna say his favorite character was Ron," and he said it was Hermione, and J.K. Rowling was like, "Okay, I'm good. Like he's gonna be good."
He gets it.
Respect. Yeah.
So, at Harry's first Quidditch match against Slytherin, his broom becomes possessed, nearly knocking him off. Hermione sees Professor Severus Snape, played by Alan Rickman, the sinister potions master and head of Slytherin House, staring at Harry and mouthing words, making her believe that Snape has caused the broom to misbehave with a dark curse. Hoping to save Harry, Hermione sets Snape's robes on fire, which is a wild move.
Hermione is actually like crazy.
Yeah.
Hermione rules.
Distracting him and others and allowing Harry to survive and finish the match, and they win. Gryffindor wins. At Christmas, Harry receives an invisibility cloak, once belonging to his father, which renders its wearer invisible, and it's from a mystery gift giver. I don't think we ever really find out. I think it's Dumbledore, or is it
thought
McGonagall?
It is.
I thought it was a friggin' what's his name?
Oh, Sirius.
I thought it was
I'm
Sirius
pretty sure it's
Black.
Dumbledore.
I thought it was Sirius Black.
Yeah, we're all freaking
Sirius
idiots. I don't know. They don't tell you in this movie by any event.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Harry uses it to explore the restricted section in the library to research information on Nicholas Flamel, a name Hagrid lets slip when he's confronted about his knowledge of Fluffy. Eventually, Harry learns that Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone, which produces the elixir of life that makes the drinker immortal. Harry is interrupted by the crotchety, disheveled, grimy Hogwarts caretaker named Argus Filch and his cat Mrs. Norris, and he escapes to an empty classroom. In the classroom, Harry sees a strange mirror, and before he can figure out its purpose, Dumbledore arrives and explains that it is the Mirror of Erised, a magical item which shows a person their deepest desires.
I
Freaked out when you read
freaked out when I read
Erised
backwards.
Yeah.
It's desire. Dumbledore explains to Harry the dangers of such an item and tells him he is having it moved. On his way back to the Gryffindor common room, Harry sees Snape trying to get information from Quirrell, and he's under the invisibility cloak, so nobody can see him. Snape's trying to sort of extort info from Quirrell about getting past Fluffy, but Quirrell says he doesn't know what he's talking about. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are sure that Snape is trying to steal the stone in order to restore Lord Voldemort to power, but Hagrid denies that a professor at Hogwarts would do that, especially while Dumbledore, the man Voldemort fears most, remains at Hogwarts. While at Hagrid's hut late at night, the trio discover a dragon egg Hagrid was nursing in a fire, which later hatches a dragon that Hagrid names Norbert. The friends are nervous for Hagrid since dragon breeding has long been outlawed in the wizarding world. Malfoy, who sees them at Hagrid's hut along with the dragon, rats them out to McGonagall, and Harry, Ron, Hermione, and yes, Malfoy receive detention with the creepy old caretaker again, Argus Filch. Norbert is also sent to Romania to live with other dragons, which they just did. There's not a lot of Norbert in the movie. There's a lot more Norbert in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, justice for Norbert.
Yeah, it's kind of a little
Norbert
like,
gets
mad random. In the
Norbert
movie.
gets one scene.
Yeah.
Filch passes the children for some reason right back off to Hagrid, who brings them to in this movie, the Dark Forest, not the Forbidden Forest, to serve their detention for some reason. While there, Harry sees a hooded figure drink the shiny, silvery blood of an injured unicorn, which makes the scar on Harry's head burn acutely. Firenze, a centaur, saves Harry from an attack, and as Voldemort flies away, he confirms that it's Voldemort when the figure flies away, and he tells Harry that it is a monstrous thing to slay a unicorn, let alone drink its blood.
That was a really scary scene, I thought, for a kid's movie.
Definitely.
Firenze explains that unicorn blood will help keep a person alive, and as I noted, he confirms that the hooded figure is, in fact, Voldemort. The next time they talk to Hagrid, they learned that in connection with his buying the dragon egg, he had told a hooded stranger on how to get past Fluffy on accident, and they believe the theft of the stone is imminent. Rushing to finally confide in Professor Dumbledore, they meet Professor McGonagall, who is shocked to find out how much they know about the stone, but reassures them that it is safe in the castle. She also tells them that Dumbledore has been sent away on an important mission by the Ministry of Magic.
Uh-oh.
Very convenient.
Positive that Dumbledore's summons was a red herring to take him away from Hogwarts, the trio make plans to thwart Snape's theft of the stone. However, when they make their preparations and try to leave the Gryffindor common room, they are stopped by who but Neville Longbottom, who wants them to stop sneaking out at night so they stop losing Gryffindor points in the House
Good
Cup.
vibes, Neville.
While they admire his efforts, Hermione nails him with a petrifying spell, and the three head out anyway.
Hermione literally is like the muscle.
She's the
It's
she's
the
the
best.
enforcer.
It's the best.
They set out to reach the stone first, but when they get to the room where Fluffy is chained, they find that he is already asleep. They then navigate the security system set up by the school's staff, which is a series of complex magical challenges.
Not that good, though, if
Including
11-year-olds can do it.
seriously, including a deadly plant called Devil's Snare, a room filled with aggressive flying keys in which Harry must find the real key, and a giant game of wizard's chess that incapacitates Ron despite his victory. After overcoming the barriers, Harry moves on alone. He reaches a chamber where he once again sees the Mirror of Erised, but standing in front of it seeking the stone is not Snape, but Professor Quirrell.
Gasp.
Quirrell, in a classic villain monologue,
Yeah.
reveals that it was he who seeks the stone, but that in a world where Snape exists, no one would suspect stuttering Professor Quirrell. He also notes that Snape had figured out Quirrell's plan and tried to protect Harry. Quirrell then removes his turban and reveals a weakened Voldemort living on the back of his head.
I was like, what?
Dumbledore's
Ew.
protective enchantment.
Yeah, gross.
Ew.
Terrifying.
Dumbledore's protective enchantment on the mirror places the stone in Harry's possession. Voldemort attempts to bargain the stone from Harry in exchange for resurrecting his parents, but Harry sees through the blatantly obvious trick and refuses. On Voldemort's orders, Quirrell then tries to kill Harry. Voldemort's like, screw it, just go kill him.
Yeah.
But when Harry touches Quirrell's skin, it burns him as he screams and reduces to ashes.
Yeah, that was wild.
Very wild.
Voldemort's soul rises from the pile and escapes, knocking out Harry as it passes through him. Harry is knocked out, literally just said, and he recovers in the hospital wing. Dumbledore visits and says the stone has been destroyed to prevent misuse and that both Ron and Hermione are safe. Dumbledore reveals how Harry defeated Quirrell. When Lily, Harry's mom, died to save him when he was an infant, her pure loving sacrifice provided Harry with an ancient magical protection from Voldemort's lethal spells, and it also prevents Voldemort from touching Harry without suffering terribly. Finally, at the end of year feast, the house...
Wait, before that, though, say what he says about the mirror. This I was like, okay, so what was the point?
The mirror? What do you
Yeah.
mean? Oh, so the mirror, it
The hex on it or whatever.
Yeah.
So Dumbledore's defensive charm on the mirror was that like you can only get the Sorcerer's Stone if you aren't going to use it.
Like if you don't
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
So
So
then if Harry
never goes down there,
then we're good.
Quirrell never gets the
Quirrell's
stone.
standing in front of that
He's-
mirror for hours.
Forever.
For hours. He's like, how did I get this?
The only possible way that Voldemort / Quirrell could have gotten the stone was if Harry was down there.
Harry's the only one
He's the
who
only
could
one.
do that. Like nobody else knows about
No,
it. That's hilarious.
maybe Ron and Hermione, like the only people who knew about the stone.
Yep.
So it's his own fault.
Yeah, and Dumbledore, I think
Harry.
admits in the book that he would have used the stone. So like he couldn't have gotten it even.
You know that Nicholas Flamel was like, "Are you kidding?
Yeah.
'Cause now I gotta die."
Yeah, Flamel. Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
He
okay.
sets his affairs in order. And
Like,
he-
gee, thanks,
he's
Harry.
done. But yeah, so after Dumbledore snacks on a Bertie Bott's every flavor bean and says, "Alas, earwax."
Earwax.
And then after that, at the end of year feast, the house points totals are given.
Here we go.
This is just
Here we
That's
go.
amazing. I was cracking up.
Gryffindor is in last place and Slytherin is in first.
Yeah, because
However-
Harry and Ron and Hermione like made them
The
lose
whole
like
movie-
hundreds and
The
hundreds.
whole movie, they're
of
losing points. However, in a wild abuse of power, Dumbledore gives a few last-minute additions, granting points to Harry, Ron, and Hermione for their bravery and service towards school. But not only that ties them with Slytherin. He then gives Neville 10 points for standing up to his friends. So Gryffindor wins by 10 points, all in the last moment. And not only does this happen, he raises his arms and like what is it? I'm colorblind. What are the Slytherin colors?
Green.
Like the green, all the banners, like the whole thing is decorated in green. He waves his arms and it's just Gryffindor now. It's Gryffindor
It's
colors.
so
Red and,
dramatic.
is it like red and gold or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now it's like the whole vibe changed. And also, all the non-Slytherin people are they love it.
Yeah,
love
I
it.
know.
The
I
whole
feel
school
like
loves it.
Okay.
If I was like whoever was second, I don't know which. I don't think. They
I think
specified.
Ravenclaw.
It was
Okay.
Ravenclaw.
But like, I would be so mad, even if I was them.
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we hate you,
Yeah.
Slytherin.
Yeah. So once that's over, Gryffindor wins the House Cup, and our final scene is they're getting back on the Hogwarts Express to go home, and what's the quote? It's like
Said something like,
He goes,
they're like, "Oh, you can finally get to go home, Harry," and he's like, "I'm not going home, not really."
not really.
And then the Express sort of drives off, and we get a wide panning shot, and then that's the end of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
This
Beautiful.
is such a good movie. I
Yeah.
loved it. So, all right. Our first question that I want to talk about, I just want to know, I'm going to go first, and then I want to know your like memories of seeing the first movie or of reading the first book. I have very distinct ones. The book I first got at a Scholastic book fair at my elementary school, and I just wanted Junie B. Jones books, and my mom was like,
Which is fair.
my mom was like, I heard this is really good. And I'm like, I don't do that. Like, I read Junie B.
Nerds.
Jones. Like, I'm not a nerd. And so then she got it and we read it. She read the first one out loud to me when I was in first grade. And I was like, oh, dang, this is good. And
You're
then,
like, alas, earwax.
alas, earwax. I guess I like one fantasy thing. And then the first movie I saw with my mom and my mom, Claire. And we
Shout
went.
out Claire.
We went to Regal Burlington, baby. Oh, yeah. And before then, we went to TGI Fridays, and I got an Oreo milkshake.
I don't have any memory like that.
And
That's a very
and
specific
I
Yeah,
remember
that's
my mom
specific.
was really scared and wouldn't go to any other ones with us because she was like, that was like terrifying.
She watched a hooded figure drink unicorn blood.
Yeah, she was like, that was actually like really scary. So those are my memories.
She watched Harry Potter burn a man alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry like murdered at
Straight
11.
Up, he straight up murdered Quirrell in this movie.
He's like,
Right in
"Ah!"
the face.
So do you guys have any memories about the first book or movie?
I just remember reading the book a million times and seeing the movie a million
How
times.
old were you when you read it?
I didn't read it, I don't think, right away.
Yeah.
But I think like around the time the movie came out, I read it.
Okay. That's pretty good. What about you,
Yeah,
Alex?
that's about the same. I don't have a vivid memory of reading the book, but around the time the movie came out, I remember my aunt gave me a volume set
yes.
of all the books that had come
Up
out
to
at that point.
that's cool.
I think that I watched it after the movie came out because when the movie came out, it was only up to Prisoner of Azkaban, which is the third book.
Yeah.
The set I got went up to Goblet of Fire, which is the fourth book. So
Yep.
I think I read the first book shortly after the movie came out.
Right.
Yeah, I read the first book when it came out, the second book in second grade, the third book right away, and then I went to the Barnes and Noble at midnight for the fourth book, and then I was on vacation for like the fifth and sixth books, so then I got them at the airport. My mom was so mad because they cost like
Yes.
$80 at the airport.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was always very, very Harry Potter heavy, like from the get-go.
Well, I'll tell you what, I read them. I read those four. I read like through Goblet of Fire. Then when the fifth one came out, I got it like a little bit later. And when I tell you the fifth book literally ruined my interest in reading for like 6 years. I couldn't get through it
Because it was so long.
It was
Yeah.
so hard.
so
I didn't
long,
like it that much.
And it was so like he was so like moody.
Very.
And like it was too much for me. And I literally didn't read another book for like 6 years. And then when I started reading again, which was thanks to The Stand by Stephen King, I came back and I reread them all and I got through 5 and I like 5 now. It's my least favorite, but
Yep.
I like it. And then when 6 and 7 came out, I just like slammed right through them.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
great.
Definitely 6 and 7.
Yeah.
It was peak Harry Potter, obviously, when the 7th book came out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember how big that was.
Yeah.
Huge.
The movie, I remember, this is actually, so there are 2 Harry Potter movies I haven't seen in theaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first one I didn't see in theaters. I remember watching it on VHS in my living
Okay.
room when I was a kid.
That's fun.
And I was terrified of the Voldemort on the back
Back
of
of his
Quirrell's
head.
face. I had to like run in the other room and watch from like, watch from the doorway. I remember that. And then not to step on the 6th book, but that's the other one I haven't seen in theaters. I watched that on a portable DVD player.
I saw the
Oh.
only ones I saw in theaters were 6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
I saw all of them in theaters.
Okay.
And the last one, or is it the second to last one? I don't know. Did we go to the midnight show? Did you go with me?
I don't know if I went with you.
Manon came with us.
Yeah.
And he
Manon,
brought his wand.
Who is not with us today.
Yes. But he probably will be next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was so fun. He brought his own wand.
That's awesome.
And we were like, how old were we at that point?
Oh, we were like, I was in college.
19.
Yeah,
And like we looked at the back and he just like pulled into the wand out
that's sick.
the back of the car.
Yeah, he got it at senior trip. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's so cool.
Okay, if you were the Dursleys, at what point would
I
you
wish.
just give Harry the letter? For me, it's like if I was making an omelet and all the eggs had letters in them, I'd be like, I'm done. I need you get this letter. Enjoy.
Well, again, this brings me back to my question. What like procedural hoops did they have to go through to get to that hut in the
Yeah.
because that seemed like it was a lot of
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
That seemed like a lot of work. They had to like maybe row out there. God knows like the waivers they had to sign, all the things like that. Because again, these are Muggles which we didn't clarify are non-magical people.
Yep.
They're not like just flying out there. They're not apparating out there. Like they got to go through the proper channels. I would assume that's a lot of effort. I would not get to that point.
Yeah.
Just give them the freaking
Give
letter.
him the letter.
Yeah.
It's a tough conversation. You got to have the conversation. But maybe it's better than having your door banged down by a giant.
Yeah.
Half giant.
Yeah. That is true.
I will say, I think it's kind of ridiculous that in the film, Harry didn't get a letter. Like when Uncle Vernon is wrestling this 11-year-old boy to the ground,
Right.
There's like hundreds.
it's like Harry, just grab one. He's like, "We're going away." It's like
He's
while
standing.
he's saying
Harry's
that,
like standing there laughing.
yeah, literally, it's like you can't just grab anywhere and you'll get a letter.
Also, how many paper cuts did they get during that one
Seriously.
scene when everything's flying through the mail slot and the fireplace?
That was so fun.
Great effects though. Great effects.
All right. So
One of the few good effects in this movie, actually. The effects are
Yeah.
pretty bad.
here is all right. So basically, when we went to Harry Potter trivia
Oh, yeah.
at our distillery,
Shout out Reckless Town.
Tom and Alex were so good. It was like they came up with the dumbest stuff.
But not only were we so good, we walked in there knowing we were
They
good.
knew it.
No, yeah.
And they would get like the most obscure answers. It was like wild. So Alex, I said this to Tom, he should already know, but I have one from the movie. Do you remember from the movie who Doris Crockford is?
No.
See,
Doris
I was
Crockford.
yeah, Doris Crockford.
We cracked up when we heard Doris
I
Crockford.
heard Doris Crockford, and I was like, "Oh, I'm seeing if Alex knows who that lady is."
Was she like sorted into the house before Harry or something?
No.
No, that was Susan Bones.
Yeah,
Susan
it was
Bones.
Susan
No,
Bones.
who's
Shout out
Doris?
Susan Bones.
Doris Crockford was the second person to shake Harry's hand at the Leaky Cauldron.
Ah.
Oh, Doris Crockford.
Doris Crockford.
So she gave her name as if like
Yes.
this kid is gonna remember like oh, Doris Crockford.
So now you'll never forget who
No.
Doris Crockford
Ah man,
is.
that's a great fact.
So
Great
if anyone
fact.
ever asks you who was the second person to shake Harry's hand at the Leaky Cauldron
That's I gotta ask
In the movie.
in the movie,
in the
in the
film.
movie, it's Doris Crockford.
That's great. I have a lot of Harry Potter fan friends. I
Yeah.
gotta ask
You
if they
gotta
know
ask them.
Crockford.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you
We
can
got till
also ask-
Tuesday if they listen to this.
yeah, yeah.
And then you could ask like who was first sorted into Hufflepuff in the
It was
movie?
Susan Bones
and
was the
that's
first one, right?
Susan Bones.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Wait, you know what I found BS about the Sorting Hat scene?
What?
It's not in alphabetical order.
no, it's not. They just pick
No.
randomly.
It's just like for dramatic effect. It's like,
I
oh,
like
Harry's
that.
gotta
Very
go last.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
Hollywood.
So, speaking of the Leaky Cauldron, would you rather go to Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade? Now, Hogsmeade, you can go
Oh, we're jumping ahead to
starting.
book 3.
I know. Starting
What?
your third year,
Yeah.
you can get a permission slip signed to go into a village in Scotland that's near Hogwarts, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
And that's Hogsmeade. That's where like a lot of the fun shops are and stuff like that.
What about Nocturne Alley?
No one wants to go to Nocturne Alley. That's like the scary
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Um,
With
so
Borgin and Burks.
would you rather go to Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley?
Alex, would you like to go first?
Diagon Alley. I would go to I would probably go to Diagon Alley.
Why?
Because number one,
Capitalism.
I've always capitalism. I'm a big capitalist. I always found, first of all, the entranceway, the Leaky Cauldron,
Yeah.
to be cozy. Like
Yeah.
in the third movie and in this one, when they go in and there's a little hotel up top, I'd stay in the hotel. I'd
Yes,
make a
the
whole
inn.
long weekend out of it. I'd enjoy that.
What? Do you know the bartender's name?
Stan.
Tom.
No? Tom.
Tom. Oh, right, it is.
Big T.
You're
Yeah.
thinking of
Of the driver of
Stan Shunpike,
the
driver,
driver
Yes.
of the night bus.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yep.
am.
Now we're just books and books in the future.
Yeah. No, Diagon Alley. There's a lot to do there. I think in the books, Harry mentions a really good ice cream shop.
Yeah, what's his favorite flavor?
I don't know.
Strawberries and peanut butter.
Hey.
Which I feel like is kind of gross, but I also think I would.
I would like it's like PB&J.
No, I would enjoy
That
that.
is true. That is true. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
They have it at Universal Studios.
Really?
Oh, I think I
Yeah,
actually
at the
had it.
ice cream shop, you
I
can
think I
get
had it when I
strawberry
went.
peanut butter ice cream. Yeah,
I've never been.
me either.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the ice cream shop. I'm saying
Yeah. No, Diagon Alley. There seems like a lot to do.
Ollivanders. You can get yourself a wand.
That's the big thing. I would enjoy
The experience.
the experience. Like I
So
went
is that
to-
a one-time thing, or like you would? I mean, I guess you're just picking one time. Which
Yeah.
one you'd rather go to?
you only got one ticket. Where are you going?
You got a day.
Okay. I think I agree, but you got to try the butterbeer.
Yeah,
That's the
No doubt.
caveat. That's the caveat.
No doubt.
that's true. I've tried butterbeer. I don't like it.
I think I liked it. I think I had the frozen one that I really liked.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you agree, Diagon Alley?
I think so, yeah. Because I like the whole. So there's recently a new game that came out called Hogwarts Legacy, and when I read about it, I was like, this is weird because in Hogwarts Legacy you play as a fifth year
year.
transfer. So like,
Where are you transferring from?
I don't know. I haven't played the game, but I would think that when you're introducing this new universe, you want to go to Diagon Alley because like you want to be a first year. You want the wand thing. You want to be buying your books. Like you want to like just be seeing sort of people in action in Diagon Alley. And I feel like it's more of an iconic place in the Harry Potter universe than Hogsmeade is. Even though Hogsmeade is more featured prominently in the later books. But I think when I think of Harry Potter, I think of not necessarily the first book, but I think of like Diagon Alley is one of the first things I think.
Why do you think they made it that you start at your 5th year?
I don't know.
I think probably just for like more dynamic gameplay experience.
True.
You learn a lot of like more advanced spells and things like that,
That is
than
probably
when you're
it.
in the first game.
Yeah, there's
That's a good
probably a
point.
reason for it. I didn't look it up though.
Yeah.
Okay. So I said the first hour very much reminds me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
When they're like the whole golden ticket thing.
Well, that not just that, just the tone. It's very British humor, very
Whimsical.
dry, very whimsical.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff that like as a kid I was just like, oh, that's weird, but as an adult I'm like, that's funny and like stupid and clever.
Yeah.
Like 9 3/4 is
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It's
You know?
twee.
Exactly. And there's a lot of stuff like that where like Dudley freaks out because he gets 37 presents instead of 38.
Yeah.
And Petunia's thing is, no, we're going to get 2 at the store today.
Yep.
Like stuff like that. Like just the random
You know what?
numbers.
You know what else I loved
love
about the Dursleys? I love that they have like just portraits of Dudley all
Hilarious.
over
Yeah.
constantly.
Dozens of them everywhere you look.
It's
Yes.
incredible. The set design is so good with the
It's
Dursleys.
so good.
Yeah.
The Dursleys house.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were going. Oh, I also said here they do a really nice job in this of adding exposition and helping non-book readers understand a lot of like the nonsensical words and like the world building is really, really well done.
They do it all through
Definitely.
Harry for the most part, which is good
Yeah,
because he
it's
doesn't
very
know any of it
good.
either.
Exactly. It's perfect.
So if you were going to Hogwarts for your first year, owl, cat, toad, or no pet, because those are your options as a
Scabbers.
first year. Are you going to go to are you going to get an owl? Are you going to get a cat? Are you going to get a toad? Are you saying I don't want a pet? Me, no pet. I don't think I can handle a pet.
I'm 11.
Like I'm 11 years old. Like what
Yeah.
am I supposed to do with an owl? I
You send it to the owlery.
like
Exactly.
I get, but then why do you even have
Why do you
it?
even- why
like
is it
why
even there?
why do you even have it then?
It's just for mail, I guess, right? Like
Yeah,
they-
but
they
okay,
serve a
but like just
function.
deliver
But like,
your
does
mail.
Ron get mail? He has a rat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and,
true.
and he does get mail. Remember, he got the Howler the
Right.
next book.
Yes,
That's true.
yes.
Yeah, it
So
gets you.
he does,
Good
and
call
you
on the
know,
howler.
in the future with stuff that happens with certain pets, I'm
Yeah.
not taking
Oh.
any risks.
Well, that's why I would choose the rat.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
so. What do you think?
I would, like you, I would either want no pet because I don't want that responsibility as an 11-year-old kid, or I would do the owl because, like Tom said, it gives you your mail, you have fun, you feed it whatever mice or whatever owls eat, and then
Pellets?
I'll go to the owlery. I'll see you in a week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you
That's
don't really
true.
have
It's
to
not
think
like
about
it's not
it.
like the cat where you gotta like follow the cat around, or like Neville loses his toad.
Trevor?
Yeah,
Trevor.
No.
Like I'm not gonna have to worry about that. I'm gonna go with the owl because I've spoken before about my connection with owls.
Yeah, Tom is
I like
the thing
owls.
with owls.
I think they're cool. I like that they're predators. They're
Yeah,
like
that
kind of
is
like
kinda cool.
weirdly like vicious animals.
All right, so you really
They're cool.
like
I like owls.
So you really like owls. Now, this is not. You kind of see this a little bit in the first book, but you get into it more later. You see that Professor McGonagall. Is it? Well, it's a whole different thing. But is it also her Patronus is a cat?
No, she's the animagus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which shout out book 3.
But later on, you find out that there's these things called Patronuses.
Yeah.
And-
Which we'll get into more again in book 3.
I just want to know if you ever found out what your Patronus is on Pottermore. Mine was a Saint Bernard.
Mine was a leopard or something.
Mine was so lame. It was a salmon.
Oh, you were a salmon too?
I was the salmon.
Jay's a
James
salmon
is
too.
a salmon.
Yes.
Jay, salmon life. I was so disappointed.
You were like, "Are you?"
A salmon.
Well, I think the salmon's an interesting one because you swim upstream, like you go against the grain. I think it's a cool one.
It is
in
a nice
theory.
one.
Like
Yeah,
you, like
that's
when
true.
when you're waiting there and you're like, oh my god, what's it gonna be? And a freaking salmon pops up.
That-
Like, what the
yeah.
hell? But it's actually kind of a cool one if you like sit down and think about
Mine
it.
was like a Saint Bernard puppy. It was really cute.
That's cute.
Okay. Well,
Is
how
that, like,
about
people are scared of you, but you're actually nice?
maybe? What about your house? I am a Gryffindor, and I took a guess on what you were. What you were an obvious one.
Ravenclaw.
Yeah. What are you?
So through
I don't think. Sorry,
Pottermore-
I don't think I've taken a million of these tests even before like
You're
Pottermore
always
came out.
Ravenclaw.
I don't think I've ever not been a Ravenclaw.
He's always been Ravenclaw.
that doesn't surprise me.
I very consistently get Gryffindor. Tom thinks it's a lie, but I really truly do. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
I knew it.
Though I will say I've taken many tests over my time. It's probably like a 70-30 Gryffindor. Like
I can see
I'm
that.
a rising Gryffindor, but
Your son is
But,
in Gryffindor,
my son-
but your general thing is a Hufflepuff.
yeah.
What's April?
Mainly a Hufflepuff.
She's looking at us right now.
April? Definitely not a Ravenclaw.
Slytherin.
No, she's a Hufflepuff. She's loyal.
Yeah,
She's a puff.
she is a
She's
Hufflepuff
loyal.
for sure. Do you know who? I know
She's
that's
got-
a
she's ri-
Slytherin. Do you know
she-
who's a Slytherin?
She's a rising Slytherin.
Do you know who's a
Your
Slytherin?
cousin Chris is a Slytherin.
He is. So's Kate.
I was
Actually,
gonna say Kate.
both of them, both
Yes,
of the Juracies
yes.
are Slytherins. But do you know who is definitely a Slytherin and like took the test and she is a Slytherin?
Who?
Heather.
Oh,
yeah,
1000%.
that makes sense.
1000%.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but no, I am a Gryffindor. So we have 3 represented right here. Wow. I wonder what Kaylee is.
Hufflepuff.
And so Gina's got to be a Hufflepuff, right?
She's puffing. Yeah.
We got a bunch of puffs in the house right now.
yeah.
Okay. So I wrote, "What's your house? Are you mad about it?"
Nah, I kind of wish that Ravenclaw got a little bit more shine in the books, like because they don't really do
Yeah.
much besides Gryffindor and Slytherin in the books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff really gets the shaft here.
They get.
They get nothing.
So I kind of wish they would have gone more into it because I would like to know more about like Quirrell's a Ravenclaw.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he is.
Yeah, so there's like a bunch of like side characters that you'd be like, oh, that's weird that you didn't even know about. Like I looked that up because I was like, what is Quirrell? Is he
When
a
I think
Slytherin?
of
Is he
Hufflepuff, I think of Hannah Abbott.
Hannah Abbott, baby.
Yeah.
She's a Hufflepuff.
Ernie McMillan.
Ernie McMillan.
Ernie
Cedric
McMillan.
Diggory's kind of like
Cedric, yeah.
the poster
The big
boy
one,
for,
yeah.
for Hufflepuffs. But like you with Ravenclaw, I wish Hufflepuff was given a bit more shine.
Yeah.
You've got Luna Lovegood as a Ravenclaw.
Luna,
You
yeah.
do have Luna, yeah.
And
That's
Cho.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
What about Lupin? Is Lupin a Ravenclaw?
No, he's Gryffindor.
I think it's
He's
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
yeah,
My guy.
yeah. We love David Thewlis on this podcast.
Big foolish heads. So my only other question that I have is, if you were a British actor, of any age, whatever you want to do, who would you want to play in the first Harry Potter movie? And then we could do a quick expansion just in general. But for now, first Harry Potter movie, who would you want to play?
It's a great question. I think so. Obviously, Harry right off the top. It'd be fun to be the main character, you know, the lead. But that aside, I would love to be like a Hagrid or
That's
somebody.
the first person that came to mind for me too.
Yeah, like somebody who's a mentor to Harry a little bit. You're kind of that warm presence that can take him through the wizarding world. I feel like that would be a fun.
And
role.
is an iconic
That's
character
cool.
that people remember.
Yes, definitely.
If not Hagrid, of course, like Dumbledore's great and McGonagall's great. I would love
Yep.
to be either of them. I would also like savor being Malfoy.
Oh, it'd be so
That's
fun.
really good. Yeah.
So
but
fun.
what I would be is a character who didn't actually make the film. I would love to.
You're
be,
not Peeves.
I would love to be.
I
Oh my
hate
God.
Peeves the Poltergeist.
I
Baby.
hate Peeves.
He was horrendous. There's so much in the IMDb trivia about the actor who played Peeves. Like, there's like 7 things about him and how like he was like so excited to see himself, and like he found out that it got cut, and then like all the kids that his children went to school with were like, "Oh, we saw you in the movie," and he was like, "What are you talking about?" They thought he was Hagrid.
Oh my god. Same
Oh
difference.
my God.
He also said the film is crap.
Yeah, well, if you get cut, then
Yeah.
sure.
I think he's like a real life Peeves. But yeah, I mean, Peeves is an icon.
That would be fun.
I would want to be Vernon Dursley.
I'm also good with any of that. Like,
He
any
just
of 'em.
eats alive, you know? He's
God.
so good.
another
So good.
relatively recent actor who passed away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rest in
R.I.P.
peace.
And then there is only one character, if you're extending out to all of the Harry Potter movies, that I would want to play.
Is it Dolores Umbridge?
It's not, but she would be my second choice. You're in the right universe.
realm.
Oh,
so-
Bellatrix.
No.
Molly Weasley?
No.
she's in this.
The answer is Gilderoy
Oh,
Lockhart.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
There is no other
100%.
character
God.
that I would want to play than
Absolutely.
Gilderoy
That would be
Lockhart.
so fun.
Absolutely,
That'd be so
100%.
Is there any other character extended in the universe that you would want to play?
I would like to play Sirius, kind of
That's
for the
good.
same reason of you
Mentorship
know, of
and
how,
what-
yeah, the mentorship role. I think that would be really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
What about Grop?
what about what about Mad Eye Moody?
Oh,
yeah.
that's my answer.
What about-
Brendan Gleeson, the God.
What about
Oscar
fake Mad Eye
nominated.
Moody?
No.
Oh.
No, but we'll get to book
We'll get
4.
to that.
We'll get there.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I have here.
Really?
Yeah, I kept it pretty simple.
Alex, you
Beautiful.
can go first if you have questions.
So I have one question for you all, for you both. I can ask it now. So, obviously, Tom, in your recap, you said that, in order to get to the Sorcerer's Stone, the 3 kids have to go through a series of, like,
Magical
rooms,
tasks.
magical tasks, to get to the stone. Each task has been set by a professor. So you have, Hagrid obviously sets up Fluffy, and Madam Hooch has the keys flying around with
That's
the
actually
rooms.
Flitwick.
Oh, Flitwick. Thank
Charms.
you. Charms. If you were in charge of setting one of those traps, you could do it from the perspective of if you're a professor, you're teaching a subject, or just a personality trait. What would your room be?
Okay, so I thought about it. I got this question beforehand. Mine would be a series of 3 things that you have to rank, and you have to rank them properly.
I thought you were going to say something like a baking challenge.
No, that's too obvious. It'd be like, make good chocolate chip cookies. No, so here it is. The first, I said originally, like, it's 3 marry, kiss, kills, basically, but you can just rank them if you want. The first one you get to, it's the Eatos chips. Doritos, Fritos, and Puffy Cheetos.
Ooh.
So you should rank them. There's one correct answer.
I mean, the correct answer is it's starting from the bottom. It's Cheetos, Fritos, Doritos.
No.
Whoa.
That's wrong.
Inverse.
No, the correct answer is number 3, Fritos.
No, that's wrong.
Number 2, Puffy Cheetos. Number 1, Doritos.
Disagree.
Doritos number 1's correct.
Okay.
Nah, Doritos 3 for me.
What the?
Well, then you guys fail.
We're
If you
back
to the beginning.
you get past that, then you go with Hedwig, Crookshanks, and Scabbers.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to rank them.
It's from the bottom up.
Bottom up.
It's Crookshanks, Hedwig, Scabbers.
Scabbers. Yeah.
Scabbers is definitely last.
Without a doubt, baby.
And then finally you get to the end. It's the big boss. It's the baby's first watch list.
Ooh.
Scorsese, Spielberg, Tarantino.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's...
Well, I know what you would do.
That's
Yeah, you would do from the bottom Tarantino, Scorsese, Spielberg.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine would be, actually. I really don't know.
That's tough. I would probably put Scorsese top of my list.
Taking their personalities into consideration, Tarantino's definitely third.
Yeah.
But I have his book that
you
came out.
spent a lot of money on his book.
Yeah, that was an impulse buy, but I'm gonna read it, and I think I'm gonna like it because he's at least out there.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's not gonna be a boring book.
No.
Yeah, that's true. That's my puzzle.
Okay,
So you guys would fail. Next.
mine would just be Harry Potter trivia.
You just do the trivia.
Yeah, I would name the 4 dragons, the 4 species of dragons.
Yeah.
Like I would do stuff like that.
I'd fail.
That'd be
Yeah,
good.
I know. That's the point. Nobody knows that stuff. Even in the Harry Potter, you think Quirrell is gonna be able to get by all that stuff?
Do you really think Quirrell knows the second person to shake Harry Potter's hand
Exactly.
in Diagon Alley?
He was there.
Exactly. He
Oh,
was
he
there.
was there. He should
there.
know.
It'd be like a
Yes.
Slumdog Millionaire sort of. He'd be like, he would take him back. I was there. He
So
would
you'd
know.
be the only one who could get through.
Exactly. He'd be great at that.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
Dolores Crookshank?
Dolores Crockford.
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 Oh my god. All right, Alex, what would yours be?
So I am a big fan of movie marathons,
Yeah.
as you both know. Me and my friends, we like setting parameters. Oh, we're gonna watch all of
Oddly
the
specific.
Yeah, like we're gonna watch 4 Dwayne the Rock Johnson movies, or
Right.
4 movies that have the word Guardians in them, like the Guardians of Ga'Hoole.
Yeah, right.
What's your most recent one?
We did.
was the Dwayne- it was
we
the Rock
did
one, right?
watch 4 Rocks, or we watched
Okay.
4 Dwayne the Rock Johnson movies, starting with Hercules.
You should have done like the 3 types of rock. Like an igneous,
Sedimentary.
We could.
sedimentary,
Yeah.
and
Well,
a
he has-
Metamorphic.
metamorphic.
He has a lot of movies, so we could do that next. you
Okay,
know?
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
But so with that in mind, for my room, what I would do is you just walk in. There's a television. You have to
Poltergeist.
What'd you say?
It's Poltergeist.
It's
actually.
scarier. You have to marathon all of the Transformers films back to back
Including
to back,
Bumblebee?
including Bumblebee, and including the Transformers Beast Morphers movie that's coming out, because this takes place in the future. And then that's not it. You watch all the movies, you sit through them all, And then at the end,
You can't use a time turner though.
you get you can if you think to bring it in. This is a magical task. So if you have the foresight, you're welcome to.
Okay.
But that might you might not do so well in the second half of the task, which is in high school. Did you guys ever play? It's not Quizlet. It's the thing. Sporkle.
Yes.
Yes, we
of
did.
course.
College
for
constantly.
us. Yeah.
So Sporkle, thank you. So then after watching all the Transformers, you have to do a Sporkle quiz of all of the Transformers that you saw in the movies.
Oh.
So you got like
Smart.
Professor Quirrell there. He's like, okay, there's Ironhide, there's Jazz, and you got to get, I would say probably 80%.
You don't have to get them all.
You don't have to get them all because
That would be sick.
that's sick. That's crazy. But 80% Transformers. That's what I would do.
There's a
pretty good.
solution to all of the magical tasks, so I think that's fair to make it so that it's 80% and not all.
Yeah, it's 80. Please.
That's perfect. There's actually a Sporkle with the top 200 mentioned Harry Potter characters.
I'm gonna do that probably after this.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I
Doris
got-
Crockford,
I
baby.
got close one time.
You did?
I wonder if Doris Crockford's in the book.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Rita Skeeter is.
She is.
That's a cool
Yeah.
name too.
Good for her. That is
Yeah.
a great name.
All right, I love that question, Alex. That was really good.
Wonderful question.
All right, Tom, your turn.
I've got a little bit more like sort of meat and potatoes questions.
Okay.
It's getting meaty.
Who do you think would be your favorite professor of that you see in this movie?
Um,
I would say like counting Dumbledore and Hagrid just for
probably McGonagall.
You don't really. I mean, what do you think Madam Hooch is like? The,
She's
the
wild.
brooms professor.
Really, she's kind of crazy, like mean.
Yeah, but I mean, you're on the job. Like, what do you think she's like when you're drinking a butterbeer where they're at Hogsmeade?
That's
Well,
a
you're
good
not because you're not
question.
allowed to go in year one.
I didn't say that.
You said out of the first year people.
I guess.
So no,
No. so-
McGonagall, because
Why?
Because I'm a Gryffindor and she
I
just
was
give
gonna
me
say
all the points.
Yeah, that doesn't help me.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Okay.
I probably enjoy
Snape?
not Snape.
No.
No, not Snape. I would probably, as a student, I would probably enjoy Flitwick. I feel like you can have a real conversation with him.
Yeah.
He's one of those teachers that, you ask him about life outside of school. He'll
Yeah.
keep it real. I feel like
He's like sitting on the desk with his legs crossed over.
Yeah, exactly. Flitwick would
Hey,
probably
that's,
be pretty chill.
Head of Ravenclaw House, Professor Flitwick.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I love Flitwick. If I was there, I guess it would probably be between those two and Hagrid. Just because
Yeah.
Hagrid, like, he makes me feel so good about myself.
Yeah.
Because he's a mess.
Hagrid's like the substitute teacher that like you know way too much about, and that
Oh,
like you
yes.
can get away with anything.
So, for some reason.
Yeah, and you're just like you know how to get
'Cause he's
what
friends
you
with the
need out of
principal.
him. So you're like, oh Hagrid, my stomach hurts. Like, can you give me $1 so I can go to the vending machine? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like you get anything you want from
Yeah,
him.
I would say him, or, I mean, a Dumbledore would be really freaking scary.
Yeah, he
Well,
would.
that's like when I had the former president of our college for my as my professor
Yeah.
in one of my classes, my FSP, my first year class.
But it'd be like having the
Oh,
the current president of the college.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He's like, I feel like he's so intimidating because he's so intellectually like past me.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
In the books, he's a little like goofy. Well, he comes off as goofier in the first couple books. They make
Yeah.
it seem like, does Dumbledore have it all together? I feel like,
Like he's a little wacky.
he's a little wacky.
Yeah.
And I feel like as maybe a first year student, he would kind of try and relate to the kids
Right,
by
right,
bringing
right,
out
right.
that wacky side.
Yeah.
I will say, as not even if I were a student, just like as somebody watching the movie, Dumbledore is probably my favorite professor.
Dumbledore's great.
I love, especially Richard Harris.
I was gonna
Dumbledore.
say-
Richard Harris.
great.
I wrote it here. Richard Harris is the perfect Dumbledore. Like,
He
there's
is.
no okay. Michael Gambon's great at many things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's not a good Dumbledore. He's the one who played him. I think it was from Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yep.
on.
Yes, 3
Yep.
on.
And he just doesn't. He doesn't embody the character. Richard Harris is Dumbledore.
Agreed. Richard Harris has that like reverence that you get from Dumbledore reading it.
Right.
I would be curious what it would be like if Richard Harris were in the later movies when Dumbledore has a little bit more action.
Yeah.
Or, he has. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
he does a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Harris is just he also has like the softness, but also the sternness
Exactly.
that
That's
Dumbledore
it.
has.
Exactly.
That Gambon doesn't have.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like Gambon's not gonna give you a butterscotch candy.
Right.
Richard Harris would.
Gambon's gonna like throw the candy in your face or
Yeah.
something like
He's
that.
just gonna crush it right in front of you. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like he is,
Gambon's gonna reach in his pocket and like find a loose cigarette.
yeah.
So I watched a movie called "The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover," and it's It's a vile movie. And it stars Michael Gambon and Helen Mirren, and it's from the 80s. And Michael Gambon's character in that movie, he is like terrifying. He is, I still think about him in that movie because he's so over the top and he's so like the anti-Dumbledore. Like, and that was one of the movies that at the time he was the most famous for.
So it's like, why would they cast him?
I don't know. Like, because didn't when Richard Harris
says not Ian
don't
McKellen.
cast Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was already Gandalf at the time.
Yep.
So I don't know if they would have gone that route anyway. But Michael Gambon just doesn't see, like, it makes no sense. And also, before they cast Richard Harris, it was supposed to be Alec Guinness from Star Wars, who was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Which
Did
would
he
have been
die?
He died in
2000?
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so to me, like, Richard Harris, the reason why I prefer the earlier movies, and in large part because of Richard Harris, because he's like, not to crap on Gambon, but like Richard Harris is just such a perfect emblem of what Dumbledore is, and he just knows how to inhabit that character. I think Gambon said he refused to read the books, which is also part of probably the reason
He
why.
didn't read them before doing the movies.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's what it was. I thought he
Yeah.
like continued to refuse.
He may have.
Yeah. Gambon rules though.
I mean, that's kind of
I
iconic.
kind of love that.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah. So that's our Richard Harris segment of this episode.
Harris heads.
All right. Do you like Quidditch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I feel like it gets a lot of hate.
No, I like it,
Because
and
it
I
makes-
liked it in the books.
Okay, well, the scoring system makes
The
absolutely
scoring
no sense.
system's stupid.
But also, like, I just like the sort of quality of life stuff that they do in the books
Yeah.
and movies. I like when they're just messing around.
Oh, love it.
Like, that to me is the best part of, like, one of the better parts of the entire series. Just like Harry's obsessed with Quidditch. Of course he is. He's a kid. He's like a jock. Like,
Right.
that's just all he cares about. Like, he's in the later books, he's like, oh my God, whatever major plot point is happening, I'm in this grave danger. But also, I just want to beat Hufflepuff next week. Like,
Yeah.
that's just, it like grounds him as a character, as a kid, as a teenager. And I think that it serves such a purpose there that, like, maybe JK could have cleaned up the rules a little bit and sort of figured things out and made things a little bit more rational and made them make sense. But I think for what it is, and it's very wizarding-y, like, it fits perfectly in the universe with the Quaffle and the freaking golden snake. It's like this random thing that's happening like 600 feet away, has nothing to do with the rest of the game. But once that thing happens, everything else is over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether you win or lose. Like,
Well, I just thought it was genius to have them go to like the tournament in the fourth book, where it's like there's there's professional
yes.
Quidditch.
Yeah.
And of course,
it's great.
everyone goes.
Yeah.
And it's like insane, and there's betting, and there's the whole
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
it's like the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I respect the fact Quidditch may not be a perfect game, but I think it gets for the purpose that it has to fulfill in the first book.
Yeah.
You get enough of the rules. There's something to be said where anybody watching the movies can, watch the movie. Oliver Wood comes out and he goes, "Here's the quaffle," and in like a two,
That's a bludger.
And this is the golden fish. It's like there's something to be said where it's a complex magical game, but you can understand the rules in like
It's
a
simple.
minute and a
It's
half.
super simple.
Where you jump in and then you're in. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, Harry's got to find the snitch. Now I
Yeah.
know, like, that's what ends the scene.
Yeah.
Right.
I will also say, when I was a kid, I had the Quidditch World Cup video game.
I had it too.
It's like
great.
It's like Madden, but you play
Yes.
Quidditch.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So fun. You develop a real love of the sport when you play a game like that for hours. So I love Quidditch.
That's fun.
Okay. So we talked about your favorite professor. Who do you think gives the best performance? I guess we sort of talked about Richard Harris, but so I would say, like, besides Richard Harris, which of the, I guess you can include the kids, but
Yeah.
out of any of the actors in the movie, who do you think gives the best performance?
I think that Alan Rickman is having the time of his life.
He is, like, dripping this entire movie.
So good.
When he walks away with his robes, it's almost like he's on Drag Race. Like he
Yeah.
is like strutting.
They
He is strutting.
So I listened to a Ringer podcast called Binge Mode, it's a great Harry Potter podcast. They go through all the books, they go through all the movies, and they said, I think it was on there, or I might have read it separately, but I think it was on there where they said the costume designer came in like the later movies, and the only thing that they kept from like earlier on was Snape's robe. Like they were Snape's robe is the perfect
It's incredible.
costume design
It's amazing.
for that character. And
Flowing, gorgeous.
yeah, and I didn't love a lot of the changes in the later books. I mean, in the later movies, but like they got that right. The fact
my
that they
God.
did not change anything
It's
about
just
Snape.
so great because he is like so intense
Yeah.
and so serious and very just pointed and everything, and then he turns and walks away, and it's a fashion show.
Yes.
I love
But
it.
he knows it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He knows he
all
looks
eyes
good.
are on him.
He
Yes.
knows he looks good.
And he knows.
So I didn't really talk about this scene when he's first introduced, which is their first potions class.
So
and
good.
He is just like publicly embarrassing Harry the entire time.
Yep.
And he walks in and he's just he's talking about like, Mr. Potter, do you know the difference between Monk's Hood and Wolf's Bane?
Yep.
and Harry's like, blah, 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 and like Hermione's like raising her hand, and he's just like he's like not even looking at her. He's just like his like purpose in this moment is just to make Harry feel terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alan Rickman is so good at getting that across.
It's so good.
It's iconic.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I think Alan Rickman is my choice.
Great choice.
I'm gonna go with Harry Melling, who played Dudley.
Yeah.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Yeah, he got
And
it.
Completely.
with a shout out to is it Richard Griffiths, I think, played Vernon. It was, I forgot the actor's name, but and the actors who played Petunia, like all three of them.
the
they get it.
Dursleys get it.
But Dudley's the star.
oh, he's
Dudley, yeah. The way, first thing, Dudley's birthday, walks downstairs, looks at his presents. First thing he says, how many are there?
How many? Quantity over quality.
How many are there? 36, counted them myself. 36. Last year I had 37. It's
So
crazy.
good.
It's crazy.
It's like, he's such an entitled little like,
yeah, I love him.
he's
And
the
yet
best.
we love. We stand.
We stand.
And then Harry Melling went on to star in The Queen's Gambit
Yes.
and other things that I
good
can't remember.
miniseries.
Yeah. Anybody else?
No.
I would just say Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my other thought too.
He's
He
great.
could be, because Hagrid could be such like a scary character on paper.
Exactly.
You know.
He's sort of the audience's, like, this is the first movie in a franchise, so he's the introduction to the magical world for everybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight, like, low-key riding on his performance.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that Hagrid is this guy who's going to take you through the magical world, be your tour guide showing you Diagon Alley and all this, the audience kind of checks out.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
fact that you kind of really, Hagrid's endearing immediately. It's just, he does a great job taking you through that.
I also want to put Seamus Finnegan out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Me dad's a muggle. Mom's a witch.
Mom's a witch.
Bit of a shock when he found out.
I like during the Wingardium Leviosa scene when they're all like sort of getting it right, and then it goes to
Blows up
him,
the
and he's
tube.
like, Wingard Leviosa, and then just explodes in his face. He's like, doesn't even get the words right.
No,
Like,
he's-
let alone the pronunciation.
Yeah. He's very dopey in this one.
Yes.
Seamus.
He's so funny.
Yes. But one more thing I want to say about Hagrid is just that I love the scene when they first walk into the Leaky Cauldron. And the bartender's like, the usual Hagrid?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here on Hogwarts business. like,
He's like, are you sure?
like just that one line is like, there's history here, and like you can see it's just it helps flesh out the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like these little parts in the screenplay like that I think are very helpful. And again, like Hagrid just plays it off so well. I mean, Coltrane, he's great. Okay. Let's see. Would you like any of the classes? Like realistically.
No.
I said I would be horrified of Broom's class maybe more than anything.
It's Jim.
But it's Brooms.
It's
Yeah,
brooms.
It's Jim if you were
In
400
the
feet
air.
in the air.
Yeah.
See, I thought Defense Against the Dark Arts kind of Jim. That it's a very well. It depends who the professor is. Let's get that right. But
Yeah.
it can be a very practical
There's
class.
no consistency.
Yeah. I think that would be fun.
Maybe like the history.
Listen,
Yeah.
I said, is there anything that you wish would have been explored more in the movies or books? And I wish there were more ghosts in general, but the scenes in Professor Binns' class, who teaches history of magic in the books,
Yeah.
like, they're comedy.
I have
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
They're so good.
Because Binns is a ghost, right?
He's a ghost, and
Yeah.
he's just, like, so droll and boring,
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, do you have more on Binns?
I would just say
Hit the Binns heads with some.
All right, let's get into the Binns conversation. No, Harry roasts Professor Binns in the
so
book.
much.
He's like, I gotta go to the most boring class today, and they're always talking through it. I feel like, and even before you asked this question, I always felt like I would enjoy Professor Binns' class. I would want to know, especially if I learned that magic exists like a day ago.
Yeah.
I would love to learn about the history of the magical world.
Yeah.
What's happened before me? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
What's the context here?
Yeah, like how did all this, like what's the history of Hogwarts? What's, all the ministers
Who
of
are these
magic?
people?
Yeah, like what is any of this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Harry he's too tough on bins.
Yeah, he doesn't have a curious mind in that way.
That's what it is. Yeah. He's thinking about Quidditch.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's a jock. That's what he is.
It's a jock.
That's what he is.
Meathead.
Yeah, just like Oliver Wood, Aaron's childhood crush.
I
Oliver
loved
Wood.
Oliver Wood. I was
Yeah.
like obsessed with him in like the 2 scenes that he
That's
had
a
in these
pleasure.
movies.
Nice one, Harry.
I was like, oh my god.
Um,
Now who do I have a crush on? Mad-Eye Moody.
Yes.
Obviously.
Constant vigilance.
Brendan
Obvious-
Gleeson,
Brendan
baby.
Gleeson, of course.
Oscar nominated.
Yes. I want you to give me your top 3 animals in this movie. So we've got Fluffy.
Dead unicorn. Number 1.
We've got Fluffy. We've got Dead Unicorn. We've got Scabbers, who is obviously Ron's rat. Mrs. Norris, who is Filch's cat. We have Hedwig the owl. We have Trevor the toad. We have Fang, who I didn't mention, who is
Yeah, Fang's cute.
Hagrid's like giant dog, like also Saint Bernard-ish, right?
Yeah.
And Norbert, I counted.
What
If we're
about the chocolate frog that jumps away?
Oh, we could count the chocolate frog.
You can count that.
Chocolate frog number 1, dead unicorn number 2, and for number 3, let's just go with Trevor.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Yeah.
Frog life.
Listen, Trevor's got a lot of people after him.
Yeah.
You know.
Does friends counter?
No,
No.
because he. Let me just make sure.
He's a
He
Sagittarius.
speaks.
What is he?
What?
What? He's
A
a
centaur.
Sagittarius. Centaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more humanoid than anything else.
Okay.
Even though I'm not going to get into it. So those are your top 3?
Yeah.
All right.
I would probably.
No, Hedwig number 1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I would Hedwig number 1. He's the hero animal.
Hedwig's the Tony Soprano.
Hedwig's the soprano of the
Yeah.
fantastic beasts of this world. He also later, he sacrifices himself and not
Why
to
did I
spoil
think
the
Hedwig
seventh
was a
book.
girl?
Oh, is Hedwig a girl? Oh gosh, I forget.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know.
Wow, I forget. I think it.
I'm gonna look it up. Keep going.
Okay, Hedwig.
I think if I had to guess, I would say girl.
Probably
but I don't
is. I haven't thought about it.
Is Hedwig a girl? Let's see. Hedwig is
It's deep in the lore.
okay. It's like confusing.
It hasn't been confirmed.
She's female, but in the movie, the actors playing her are males.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yes.
So Hedwig, I would say she is the number 1 then.
Yes.
Number 2, Scabbers. It's literally just Peter Pettigrew.
Spoiler.
Timothy Spall, that
Oh my
Timothy-
God.
that
Timothy Spall.
gross man.
That dirty dog.
That guy
Mr.
just
Turner all day, every day.
hanging out. That's Scabbers 2. And then 3, Trevor. Because Trevor's willing, Trevor's hamming it up on the
Yeah.
stairs before the
Yeah.
sorting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta throw some love to Trevor.
He knows how to steal a scene. Also, how did he get there? So Neville loses Trevor apparently on the train. Then after they get off the train, he has not found him yet, and they take boats to Hogwarts for the first time. And that's a really cool scene where like you see
Yeah.
the castle for the first time, and there's like the floating candles or whatever, and they go ashore, and like McGonagall is going to bring them into the Great Hall, and all of a sudden there's Trevor. And Neville's like, "Oh, it's Trevor!" And he goes to find him, and it's like, did Trevor hop on a boat with what was Trevor's deal?
Do you think that there's been like 75 Trevors, and it's like
It's very
anytime he
possible.
sees a dog or a frog, it's like, oh, it's Trevor.
It's very possible.
Aw,
That's sad.
that's kind of sad.
I mean, it would work with early Neville.
Yeah.
yeah.
My top 3 are okay. I'm gonna go with Hedwig is great, Trevor's great. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Norris.
I love Mrs. Norris.
Mrs. Norris rules.
First of all, Mrs. Norris gets her moment
in book 2.
yeah. Yeah.
Mrs. Norris is
I
awesome.
love Mrs. Norris.
I love that he has that Filch has like a mind meld connection with Mrs. Norris.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
never explained, it's never gone into.
Him
it's
and
just
Mrs. Norris are just.
It's
they,
love.
They connect. Exactly.
It's love.
You don't get much of Filch, you don't get much of his his background or his story, but he loves Mrs. Norris. And you know that Mrs. Norris loves him.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's precious.
Yeah. So those are my top 3 as well.
I love it.
Though I will shout out Norbert. I wish we got more Norbert. in
And
this movie.
shout out Fluffy
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Fang.
and Fang.
And shout out all of them.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got here? What would be the most? I don't know if I asked you guys this one already. What would be the most fun part of preparing for Hogwarts? Would it be like shopping for wands or a pet, or you mentioned a wand earlier, but like that, or would it be the Hogwarts Express, getting from the trolley witch, getting the chocolate frogs and all
Not
that.
platform 9 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the most fun part?
Shopping. I think shopping. Because, like, think about when you, like, were in school and, like, you would go to Target to get all your, like, stuff. For
Yeah,
the
really
next
go to
school
Target.
Yep,
year.
exactly.
But you know what I mean. You would go to whatever. It's kind of like a super
The
Target.
dollar store.
Okay. The dollar store. But it's kind of like a super Target, Diagon Alley, where they've got everything.
They got everything everywhere.
All
yeah,
at
all at
once.
once. that would be fun. I would. The Hogwarts Express would be fun. It's kind of like before, like when you were a kid and you'd go on a field trip and there was that anticipation on the bus ride over.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah. I agree with that. I love the Hogwarts Express. But, well, we kind of did the Hogwarts Express when we did our Amtrak ride
Yeah, that is true.
across the country.
That was not so fun sometimes.
Yeah. The Hogwarts Express had a little bit, the carts were a little bit better.
It was a little
but-
classier.
yeah, a little bit classier. We didn't have a trolley witch
The bathrooms didn't
Mhm.
break.
on the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
They did on our Amtrak.
The air conditioning didn't stop.
Correct.
Uh,
Though, we didn't get attacked by any Dementors.
that
Shout
is
out, Book
true,
3.
but we did
That's a
have
win.
to wait until 3 a.m. to get on.
And
Yeah,
there were
Amtrak.
Dementors around that train station.
At the Salt Lake City Amtrak station, there were a couple
It sucked the
Dementors
soul
around.
out of me for sure.
That is for sure. But we did meet a lot of new friends.
We did. Yeah. Shout out those people from Georgia, Indiana, and
And
Hawaii.
Palm Springs /
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Do you think the food is any good at Hogwarts?
Heck yeah,
Oh,
dude.
I wanted to talk about
The
this. I'm
best
glad.
in the business.
This is another thing that's a little problematic that we need to talk about. It's made by the house elves,
Yes.
who are
Yeah, that's a problem.
who are essentially slaves.
Yeah.
And again, we're not getting into that stuff. It's not good. It's not a good portrayal. They can't have their heart in this. You know what I mean? In making the food like this,
Yeah, but
when you're under like such terrible conditions.
I understand that, but the food looks like it slaps.
It does.
It looks good.
Some
I'm
of
sorry.
it does.
Ron is going to town.
Well,
Some of it.
Ron also comes from a home where like they sort of had to fight to put food on the table. He had to fight between however many siblings to sort of like get. He's like lower middle class, so like I get it. No matter what that food tastes like, he's gonna eat.
Yeah.
until he's
Nobody's
engorged.
complaining.
That's
true.
I feel so they don't touch upon it in the books. In the books and the movies, they make it seem like the feast is amazing.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube short of it was something like when you grow up in a family where food is a big part of your heritage or whatever, and then you go to Hogwarts and you get there and you have all the bar is so high from your mom's home cooking, and then you get there and it's like, oh, boiled ham, like, oh,
Porridge.
Yeah.
chicken, cool. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe give a little bit more variety. There isn't
Yeah.
much variety.
I mean, it's definitely better than Sodexo.
Oh, no doubt.
Yo.
Anyway, so I would say that this movie more than the others is a faithful adaptation for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's a good adaptation?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
would
I
say so.
liked it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think it holds up for the most part.
I think it does hold up. It has that like I think Chris Columbus was the perfect director for this movie.
Yeah.
I think
Agreed.
Spielberg would have been great too.
Yeah,
But
of
the
course.
fact that Columbus had already done like Home Alone, he knows like the child perspective in
Right.
movies like that, where it's like a little whimsical, it's a little sort of wacky, and he's able to tell a story through the child's eyes without making it too childlike. Like there's some like even
Dark
in this
stuff.
movie already there's some dark stuff.
Yeah.
It
I
gets
don't
darker
really,
later, but
I really don't understand the critics that say that it's not like, oh, it's too bright and cheery. Literally, we watch like a demon eating a unicorn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's
like
very
and then
scary.
like jump scare fly at the main character.
It's very
Yeah.
scary. And the whole last part in the like with all
With
the challenges
ring
and
of
stuff,
fire around.
it's all very
mirror.
very
It
scary.
is, yeah.
So I
And there's
really
stuff like the whole part about Dumbledore talking about the mirror is like existentially scary.
Exactly.
Like it's not just there's scary images. It's like there's things that if you think about it, like that's crazy. Like people have
Right.
wasted away in front of this mirror. He says something like that.
right.
Yeah.
It's like
Just because the colors are brighter,
just because the
and
music
the
slaps.
grass is
It
green,
slaps.
and it's not like Ozark blue scale like some
Yeah.
of the later movies.
Yeah.
Oh my god, doesn't mean that it's not more complex.
Also, it's
like
a
I
kid's
don't
book.
right.
What do you
Yeah.
expect?
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think it's that light and fluffy.
No.
for a kids movie.
And even if it is light and fluffy, it sets the tone so that in the later movies, when that is challenged by Voldemort and the dark forces of the Death Eaters and stuff, you have a reference point of when everything was great and happy before that, that you really feel, oh, wow, it's really changed.
Yeah.
He sets the tone well, especially for the early portion of the season.
The next book / movie is a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like...
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I read somewhere that, like, that there's a theory that's why so many 30-year-old women are into true crime. It's because of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And I'm like...
Gilderoy.
Wait, that's my second favorite Harry Potter book. Like, yeah,
which I think is a hot take.
Did that start? Oh no, I love Chamber of Secrets.
It's
and those that don't like it are haters. No. It's Goblet of Fire's #1, and then it's Chamber of Secrets, no doubt in my mind. I know people say Prisoner of Azkaban's the best. I don't care.
Mine is Deathly Hallows, and then 2
for the books.
Yeah,
Goblet of Fire, and then 6, which we'll get into.
I don't like.
I like all the background of Voldemort.
Yeah. That's fair. But I love that take of that's why so many women in millennials are into true crime.
That's great. That's great.
I only have a couple left. What would you lie about seeing in the Mirror of Erised? So like when Harry is down there with Quirrell, he's like, "What do you see?" He's like, "Oh, I see myself holding the Quidditch cup," or whatever he says, something like that. That was what Ron said earlier in the movie, I think. But I forget exactly what Harry says. But he's obviously lying because he sees himself standing there. He gets the stone. You see it in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, you have to come up with a lie. What would you lie about seeing in the Mirror of Erised?
I mean, if you're going like right off the bat, like what comes to your head? You're a student, so you say, "Oh, I have all A's. I got all A's on my owls."
Yeah, but if you're a student who is legendarily famous for the trauma they incurred.
Oh well, I'm not Harry Potter. I'm me.
I guess. Okay, that's fair.
If I'm Harry Potter, then you lie and you say, That's what I would say, probably. You'd say like, "Oh, I'm living with people other than the Dursleys."
Yeah.
Like you say, "Oh, I'm leaving Hogwarts and I got a part-time job at
Cinnabon."
Yeah, and I can stay on the grounds with Hagrid or something. Yeah. Or like, "Oh, the Weasleys invited me to stay with them this summer."
Right.
Something like that.
Okay, I think that's fair.
So I interpreted this question differently. I thought it was, how Dumbledore, Harry says, "What do you see?" And
or
Dumbledore
that one
says
too.
that.
There's that one too. Yeah.
And I always took that as obviously Dumbledore sees something with his past, whether it's his sister. Or
Grindelwald. And he says, "A warm pair of socks."
Yeah, he says a warm pair of socks because he doesn't want to, emotionally reveal himself to Harry. In that scenario, I would. So I mean, my dad passed away from cancer. I don't know, 7 years ago. So like Harry, I would probably see my family in the back.
Yeah.
But if I were in Dumbledore's shoes and an 11-year-old said, "What would you see?" I wouldn't reveal that because I'm a professor. I wouldn't want to. So I would probably do something a bit more lighthearted. So my fiance Kaylee and I were rewatching The OC, the sitcom, or not the sitcom. It's
it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. We're rewatching The OC. Great show. I've actually never seen it. She's rewatching it. Only 4 seasons. I wish
You're
there were
watching the
more.
5th season of the OC.
If a child asked me, "What do you see?" "Oh, Harry, I see me watching season 5 of the OC. The whole cast is back. They got Marissa's back. Spoiler." I would probably say something like that.
That's
to
really
lie
good.
about it.
That's
to
really
hide
good.
the real
That
answer.
is perfect.
I love that.
Yeah, I didn't think of one. But I think I would probably lead something more ridiculous like that. Like, I'm watching, I'm home with my wife watching Turner and Hooch. Like something like that.
Yeah.
Watching the Tom Hanks classic Turner and Hooch. I think that there's plenty of things you could lie about when it comes to the Mirror of Erised.
Oh, easily. Yours would be like, "Oh, I'm watching, and Jordan Love just got MVP.
Oh my god!
And the Packers are world champions."
Yes, that or maybe something like, "Oh my god, I'm watching this incredible season 8 of Game of Thrones, and it's everything I wanted it to be."
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so let's say that you have Spotify in this universe, and you have to get through to the Sorcerer's Stone for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. Maybe you just want to be immortal. What song do you play Fluffy to put him to sleep? So in the movie, it's like a harp or something, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the book
Yeah.
and the movie, they didn't have Spotify, unfortunately. What would you play to put him to sleep to get past him?
The same thing that worked today for our son.
That's exactly what I
Yep,
was.
that's what I was thinking too.
Vienna by Billy Joel.
Yes. So our baby today was on one. He was screaming, crying
Mine.
in the car. And he does this sometimes, and it's, every baby does it. He's going nuts. You won't nap, whatever. So I said, all right, it's time to bring in the big guns. I put on Vienna by Billy Joel. He fell asleep, and we looked at the time on the song, 39 seconds. It took him 39 seconds. That is our go-to. If he is ever inconsolable, whatever, he just needs to nap, he's fighting it off, which he does constantly, just play some Billy Joel, send him off to sleep.
Yep.
Just like the three-headed dog in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean that's that. I don't think
That's the answer.
I got nothing else for you.
I thought the close second I thought related to your son, DJ Panda. I would whip out DJ Panda.
Yeah, we got DJ Panda on deck.
It depends on what song it is.
Yeah,
with
which
DJ Panda.
one? You'd probably be mashing it.
Is
a
it the
lot.
one that
Bing,
sounds
bing,
like a
bing,
G6,
bing, bing.
or is it the one that
Sounds like Tupac.
Sounds like what's the
We Found Love.
We Found Love.
Yeah,
It depends
yeah.
on which one it is. But yeah, no, that's another great one. And he basically, when he's doing this at 3:00 in the morning, it is basically like facing a three-headed dog, and it's
true.
It's tough. And like the trap door is like a good night's sleep.
Never found it.
Yeah, because we never got down there. So we kind of talked about Professor Binns a little bit, but is there anything else that you wish would have been more explored in the movies? So like Peeves, I mentioned, he's like the
No
jokey
Peeves.
ghost that didn't make the movie. He's not a ghost, he's a poltergeist. I said maybe like the centaurs, because I feel like they're in it, but they're not really the focus ever, because I like their sort of the way that they look at things through like a cosmic lens, like they're looking at what the stars look like and what the Mars is red tonight. Like
Yes.
Says.
Yeah.
But like we
love
don't really we get a little bit of them because Ferenz becomes like the divination, or Bane becomes the divination professor or something.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really focus on them. And I just think they're a cool creature that you don't know that much about.
I agree. Even in the books, I love
I'm
those
counting the books
little,
too, yeah.
Yeah, I loved those little like you said,
The
Mars
little
is red tonight or something
Yeah.
like that. I love that. I wish we learned more. Beyond, like we said, the book or the movie is a pretty faithful adaptation, especially since the first book's so short.
Yeah.
A little thing is in one of those, puzzles before the Sorcerer's Stone, Snape has a really cool puzzle in the book that's about there's like a series of potions and
Yeah.
a riddle, and you have to drink the right potion to go
Oh,
forward,
right, I
or one will
remember
set you back.
that,
I
yeah.
always thought that was really clever, and it would have been fun to see that on the movie screen.
Yeah.
Beyond that, no real big gripes.
I just think more vibes. Like, I just like when they're hanging out at the castle,
Yeah.
or hanging out, just chilling, doing their thing, making friends. That's what I like. But I like that in movies. I like that in TV
Oh yeah,
shows.
that's not specific to Harry
That's
Potter.
my thing.
Yeah.
I love when people are just hanging out.
Mhm.
Well, that's why we like the Richard Linklater movies, because that's what they all are.
Yeah.
Even School of Rock, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could always use more them hanging out and sort of BSing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's all the questions I have. But I do have some comments that I had I have a lot of comments, but I'm going to try to keep it to a reasonable amount. Even for wizards who don't really know like the Muggle world that much, it felt a little crude to just leave a baby on someone's doorstep.
Yeah.
Like, I forget in the book if they mention having like protective charms or something like that on him, but he's not properly swaddled, first of all.
He's not properly swallowed.
It's
He's
not
also,
good.
He's a year old, and I'm like, that's not what my baby looks like.
He is much smaller
Much smaller
Much
than our
smaller
7-month-old.
than our baby.
But our baby's huge, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, he looks actually older in the flashback
Yeah, he does.
than he
Yeah,
does as
yeah.
a baby in the beginning.
He does.
The Dursleys are iconic. Dudley in the hat, crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah. I wrote the Dursleys were perfect. They were perfect.
I wrote the Dursleys are iconic. Did anybody ever get held responsible for him falling in the snake?
I know, right? Like, what
Oh
the
my
heck?
God.
How did they explain that?
How do
one?
they explain that? Like, yeah, it's like, to the audience, Harry magic. But like, what?
Like, how did he end up in there?
How did do they sue like the zoo?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
What does that court case look like?
Yeah.
It's also like you could say, okay, well, the wizards went there and like use like the mind blank, whatever that thing is
The
that
Men
they
in
use,
Black thing.
that they
Yeah,
use in the
yeah.
fourth book. But like that's a lot of effort. How are you gonna find those people?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if that's what happened and nobody remembers, how do you find all those people who ran away when the snake came out?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just one of those things where it's like stuff like that happens all the time. They're on the news for like 2 seconds, and it's over.
But that was I don't know about it in 2000, or I guess this was like what, like
Or what? You got like a Harambe story.
I guess.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Except fortunately, the snake made it out alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. What else? What else? How much paper did these wizards waste trying to get this one letter to him?
And it's all handwritten too, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this an Airbnb? No safer place than Hogwarts is the biggest load of crap in this entire
Yeah, that
series.
is so
series.
true.
Almost all of the trouble Harry faces for the first
Is
5
at
years of his
Hogwarts.
wizarding life is
at
in those inside those walls.
I always think about that. Like the final scene where they're having the confrontation with Quirrell.
Yeah.
Children are upstairs sleeping.
Yes.
Like they are in Hogwarts.
Yes.
Also, how many children die while Harry's at Hogwarts?
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
than 0.
A higher number than 0.
Higher
Yeah.
number than 0.
Yeah.
Ollivander says, I remember every wand I've ever sold.
Everyone I've ever sold.
I said, that would be like a McDonald's cashier being like, I remember every quarter pounder anyone has ever bought here. How many wizards are there?
It's
It's
nuts.
very
And-
Mary Lou Henner of him.
He doesn't have a monopoly on the wand game because we find out that there are other wand makers, but
Yeah.
like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the Diagon Alley guy. He's
He's
you
the
know,
Louboutin.
he's the Times Square McDonald's. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like that would be like if that cashier was like, I remember every single quarter pounder I've ever sold.
But no, but it's different because everyone's specific.
Maybe everybody puts on or doesn't want onions or wants pickles on theirs
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
guess.
Yeah.
You never know. He remembers all of them regardless.
I feel like he just put in a little extra oomph for the Harry appointment.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
always like, I mean, we're just gonna do dragon string.
Yeah,
and
Susan Bones just whatever.
Yeah. He's, oh, Potter's here. Let me turn up the pageantry a little bit.
Curious.
He goes, curious. Oh, Harry's going to love his curious.
I said the Hogwarts Express is such an outmoded form of transportation, right? Like you'd think that for wizards, like they would figure something else out, and then like they're taking boats.
the boats were very unsafe.
Yeah.
Nighttime.
Yeah, I said the insurance premiums to keep something like Hogwarts running have to be through the roof.
Gosh, I don't even want to.
Um,
Something you mentioned earlier, Tom, is when they're at platform 9 3/4 and Hagrid just leaves Harry.
oh yeah, he goes to.
Mid-sentence. He's
He's
like,
oh, I gotta go, Harry.
there's no such thing as 3/4. Is there? And then he looks and Hagrid's gone. It's like, dude, he's a child.
He's 11.
Like, what would he have done?
But the funny part is like Hagrid doesn't know that Muggles don't know what 9 3/4 is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he just it's like a thing that he's known for like his whole life.
Right.
Yeah,
He
that's
doesn't
true.
He probably knows that they don't know what it is, but he doesn't like put that together in that moment. 'cause
It's
he's-
so obvious to him.
Yeah.
that- yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the sorting hat is so much more useful than it gets credit for.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It can tell your entire personality by
Yeah.
sitting on your head.
That's
It-
true.
I said it's Hogwarts' version of a vibe check. I also said on second thought, it could be so easily misused by like the Aurors,
No, yeah.
like in
for
like
sure.
interrogations.
Oh, yeah.
That it's probably a good thing it's locked in Dumbledore's office.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's,
I was like,
that's a great
sorting,
point.
Sorting hat's kind of wild. Alan Rickman is so good. Oh, the CGI when Neville takes off on the broom. I said it's like Windows 95 level.
It's funny because at the time the CGI was
Amazing.
praised through this
This
whole
was
movie.
right around when Shrek came out.
Yeah.
Right? Was this same year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
So that was like that type of, and it was that type of CGI that was in this movie too.
The Phantom Menace too was
Yeah.
all kind of the same era.
Yep. Both Harry and Malfoy should have been expelled immediately for the Remember All stunt with the brooms.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
How down bad was the Gryffindor Quidditch team that they needed Harry of all people? Who was the seeker? Who was the seeker going to be?
Yeah.
You got a game next week.
Yep. They didn't know.
Who is the seeker going to be?
Did they have a seeker?
We never found out.
Yeah.
Maybe they just had no seeker and they just had to go up 160 points.
They're like,
and then
oh,
hope
Katie
the other-
Bell, give it a shot.
Yeah,
All right.
Alicia Spinett. Are you gonna? You got this?
Imagine it's like a year 7. Like, you
Yeah,
know, it's like
I'm
been.
okay.
I've had the job for 6 years. Wait, who is coming in?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, this guy, the freaking the most famous
The
person.
boy who lived.
The kid
oh,
with the
great.
cut on his head? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Also, I have a little bit of sympathy for the Slytherins.
Yeah, they live in the dungeon.
Yeah. So
They got no windows.
So troll in the dungeon, right?
True.
So Dumbledore says, "Silence!"
Yeah.
He sends all the kids back to their dorms with the prefects. But the Slytherin's dorms are in the dungeon.
Yeah.
He's like, just go find
Yeah.
you guys, just whatever. I'm gonna screw you guys at the end of the year in the House Cup anyway. So just go get killed by the troll. Also, it's no wonder that Slytherins always end up being the bad guy. The Sorting Hat is a problem when it comes to profiling, like
Yeah.
I just talked about.
Oh yeah.
But I think another issue is that the school has structured it so Ravenclaw and Gryffindor get towers for their dorms. Hufflepuff at least is like kind of near the kitchens. I read. Slytherins are just banished to the basement. There's no windows. There's nothing. It's sensory.
Cold, damp.
It's sensory deprivation down there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
it's dark.
What do they expect these kids to be doing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Evil.
Like
Plotting.
Gryffindor and Ravenclaw are in their own towers to get like these amazing views of like the bluffs and like all this
Yeah.
amazing scenery. And again, Hufflepuff's right near the food. We're cool with that. That's fine. I would love that. However, Slytherin, they get screwed at every turn.
It's true. It's for, in the last movie and book, Harry's kid is like, what if I'm sorted in Slytherin? It's a whole big message. Oh, like, I know great wizards who come from
Yeah.
Slytherin. They don't
Terrible,
really
but
practice
great.
what they preach.
Who?
Yeah, it's like, number one, who? Number two,
Horace Slughorn.
Horace.
That's it.
Harry's kid's like, oh, that guy. He has a right to be afraid. They're treated like dirt.
Yeah.
Dirt.
So I get why, like, yes, there's not many good Slytherins that we find out, but I can sort of understand where that comes from.
Yeah, it's like a nature versus nurture
Yeah.
kind of thing. You know
And
what
this
I
is
mean?
kind of both.
And this is kind of both.
I feel like though,
The nurture doesn't help.
if
Yeah.
you're a Slytherin, it's kind of like cool because it's cool to be
It's
the ones
rogue.
people hate. It's kind of like when you're a Philly fan.
Yeah, I mean, every single Philadelphia sports fan is a Slytherin.
Yeah.
It's my hometown is kind of like that too, where like we used to get shirts that said like we still don't like you either. It's like one of those like you want to be hated. It's like a badge of honor. So I feel like Slytherins are kind of like, yeah, we're Slytherins. Bye.
Potter.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty ridiculous.
Philly fans.
Philly
That's
fans
really-
are-
That's
it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Wear green.
I wrote giant broomstick shaped package. I wonder what this could be.
Yeah, seriously.
Lee Jordan.
I love Lee
King.
Jordan.
Pop.
Pop.
Any community fans out there?
He's so cool.
Same CGI observation during Quidditch. It said the out of focus characters and characters who get hit look like they're in Shrek.
Yeah.
Harry's close-up reactions during the Quidditch match are so funny.
It's like
Every time the Slytherins do something underhanded, he's like scowl. He's like, "Ugh."
it's so good. It's so good.
Hermione's bright idea when she thinks Snape is trying to knock Harry off the broom is literally to light his robes on fire, endangering quite a few people. Those stands are high.
Yeah.
They have to run a long way to get out from under that, and they're all wood.
They're all made of wood.
They're all gonna burn to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, also, an 11-year-old probably shouldn't know that spell.
Yeah.
That's Hermione.
Hermione
for you.
that's like, yeah. I mean, it's like if you're like a high schooler and you're like looking up, you know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
online, you're in places you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I also wrote that I love Hagrid as a device to advance mysteries just by being dumb.
Yeah.
Whole
Like,
movie.
it's like, how am I gonna get, as the writer, it's like, how am I gonna get this piece of information across?
Oh,
It's like, I'll
Hagrid
have
just tells
Hagrid
them.
say it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll just have him say it on
oh,
accident.
shouldn't have told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's-
shouldn't have said that.
That's how she cleans it up.
Yeah. What else? Insanely irresponsible of everyone involved to let these 11-year-olds into the dark forest.
That's wild as a punishment.
Kind of a ridiculous punishment. Also goes back to how, like, Harry gets in trouble for that because he was out after hours, and they also punish Malfoy because
Yeah,
hey,
he
you
was
told
out
on
late.
them, but you're also out. Why didn't that happen with the Quidditch thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like McGonagall
Right.
Harry should have also gotten a little slap on the wrist for that.
Not
too.
only that, or Malfoy should have been allowed to be the Slytherin Seeker at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Well, because we get the nameless Slytherin Seeker in this movie who never actually
Yeah.
becomes a thing, and then
Yeah.
it's not this. I think Draco is in the second book or
Yeah.
whatever is
Yeah.
the
Yep.
Seeker. What else? Neville's teddy bear PJs. I just wanted to
So
shout
cute.
that out.
Great.
Iconic.
Yeah, that's when
Styling.
he's standing up to them towards the end.
I love
Yep.
him.
Chess puzzle question. Why can't Ron just get off the horse? Like, why does he have to be on the knight? Also, when the knight gets hit, why can't he jump off like as the knight's getting hit?
So I've thought about this. I wonder, I may be thinking too much. You know how aren't Harry and Hermione? They're not writing anything. They
No,
are
they
the
are
chess
the chess
pieces,
Yes.
right? So I wonder if Ron got off, would the board confuse it as that's the move? Like Ron becomes the piece and he's going to another square.
Also, what is so Hermione's the queen or somebody's a bishop
No.
and somebody's a castle.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
So I think that I don't know what happened with those pieces, but maybe it's like you as the person have to be the person sitting on the knight.
That my
Yeah.
guess is that once you're on it, it's like a hex is on you, so then you
Right.
have to follow.
Right, but
That certain
the
thing.
castle and the bishop are missing. So it's like, did they get broken? Like, did Quirrell have to do this whole thing with no castle and no?
Interesting.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, but and maybe like the driver's seat is on the back of the knight.
Right.
Like you have to be
Yeah.
the knight when you. I don't know. That's just something I was thinking about.
I wonder what Quirrell did. Was he the knight earlier?
I don't
you
know. I have no clue.
Did Voldemort was he directing the chess pieces back there? You know, like was he helping?
Maybe.
You just never know.
I don't think Quirrell is smart enough to do that himself. I think
Yeah.
Voldemort was probably helping him out.
Yeah.
Quirrell, and I mean, he is a Ravenclaw. Shout out Ravenclaws. But like, I don't know. There's always the exception that proves the rule. Quirrell didn't strike me as a mastermind, even though he sort of did his whole. He did his thing here, but like, I don't know. He doesn't seem like somebody who
Also,
is.
don't you think it would be kind of weird if like your colleague one year just shows up with a new headpiece that
Yeah.
they never had
in
before?
the book when he meets Harry in the pub, he doesn't have a turban.
Yeah, right. Isn't
Yeah.
that kind of like a weird like why do you now have
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
No, actually, in the book they explain it's because
he was something when he was in like.
I think
in
it was
Romania or
Romania.
something?
He encountered vampires, so they say he put garlic in the turban,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
why obviously it smells bad because Voldemort's back there, but all the kids thinks it's garlic,
That is
Yeah.
so foul that Voldemort's just like chilling there.
and he apparently smells
Smells.
horrible. He reeks.
Just rancid.
He's like a rancid head.
So
Binge Mode was talking about
so
like,
disgusting.
Binge Mode was talking about how humiliating that would have to be. Like you go, this freaking weird dude, like he lays down at night, he's like slamming his head into the pillow. You're like suffocating in the pillow. You gotta watch him when he's like going to the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom's
God.
man.
Quirrell,
Awful.
Voldemort kind of had it rough here.
Oh my
He
God.
deserves to be resurrected.
Yeah, I mean he did. He put in the work.
He put in the work.
Let's see, classic evil monologue by Quirrell here.
Quick thing about that favorite scene, one of the favorite scenes, when Quirrell goes, "Come here, Potter," and then Harry just stands there for a second, and goes, "Oh," and he kind of walks. It's like such a dramatic line read of Quirrell. "Come here," and then Harry doesn't even college goes,
All right.
"Oh," he kind of walks over there. I always found that funny.
There are some things that just don't fit from this movie within the overarching. Like, I don't want to get too much into the later books and movies, but like, there's stuff in this movie that's just lost later on that never comes back. Like, for example, like what's Quirrell's whole deal? Like, we never find out. Is he like he's not a Death Eater? He's not like why did he? How did
Yeah.
he end up like this? Did he just get possessed? Like, was it like Voldemort found this guy and was like, I know you're a professor. I'm just gonna attach to you so I can get. Like, I don't know what the whole deal was. Why can he fly?
That's the big thing. Why
In
can
the-
he
in the
fly?
forest.
Yeah.
Why didn't he try to fly in the basement? Also,
Yeah.
okay, that I can maybe say like, okay, well, he was literally drinking the unicorn blood,
Yeah,
so maybe
so
that's like an
something
extra
worked, yeah.
extra power.
I
like-
always saw the flying thing as just like it's Hollywood and they want to
Oh,
make
of course.
it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like what the
Why? Yeah, canonically, like,
Yeah.
what's the reason for it?
also the unicorns and the mirror. You would
Yeah.
think that like unicorns would maybe pop up later on at some point, because like even the stuff in the second book, like the basilisk and things like that, comes back later on. But nothing here. I don't expect her to have known the entire story at this point, but clearly she was retconning things like the Tom Riddle's diary being like a
Right.
Horcrux or whatever and all that. But here, you don't get really anything in the later books.
Mhm.
Anything that's super important in this book. I mean, the dragons come back, but like Norbert doesn't come back.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that nothing really carries, nothing super major really carries over. Maybe the mirror you would think would pop up later on because it was so important in this, but
The one thing maybe is Ollivander. He comes back,
Yeah.
but
Right.
that's a character. It's
Right.
not like an item that's associated with.
yeah. But I was talking about Quirrell too, so it's like kind of
Yeah,
that still
yeah,
counts. That still
yeah.
counts. Yeah, so I don't know. I just found it kind of interesting that a lot of the main focuses of this book and movie don't really come back. There was something else too that I was reading about, that I was thinking about, and I was like, why didn't I don't know. The Mirror of Erised I think is the big one to me because it's such like a powerful magical item that
Yeah.
you would think that at some point it would even get a mention. Like it barely,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
definitely doesn't get mentioned in the movies. I'm sure it gets brought up again in the books at some point, but
Yeah.
like even just in a passing throwaway
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see that something from, the Dementors are always around after book 3, and then like 4 through 7 are sort of like one long arc.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just crazy that this book that like sort of started everything
Yeah.
almost gets pushed to the side.
Wow.
Anyway, Bro got clowned by an 11-year-old with Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah.
I said, Harry's like level 2 at this point, and he took out Quirrell. Harry's surprisingly calm for someone who just burned one of his professors to a crisp when he's in the hospital wing.
Yeah.
He's so much like, are Harry or Hermione and Ron okay? Nothing about the ashes of Quirrell that are in the basement.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That like Filch had to sweep up and like.
Yeah, exactly.
He probably did. He probably did.
Yeah, that's weird stuff. He said, I think Dumbledore is great, but man, he could have saved us so much time by just giving Harry the info about the mirror and the stone earlier.
We're giving him the points right there.
Or that. Also, and I wrote this too, like we talked about before, according to his logic, if Harry never goes down to the basement, then Quirrell never even comes close to getting the stone.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
I don't get it.
Stupid.
But it is great.
That's a great observation.
I said, alas, earwax, of course. Dumbledore and the House Cup, stop the steal. I said.
Oh my god.
It is, again, and I said again, can totally see where the Slytherins are coming from. This is such nonsense.
And he's so dramatic about the fact that he has
he
them.
embarrasses the
This
decorations.
at first they tie and then they win. Like
Well,
it's,
yeah, he's like, oh, so it's a tie, but actually,
it's
I said when we were watching, I was like, Dumbledore is who a certain someone thought they were going to be in 2020.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Being like, actually,
Yeah.
I am going to give all my points to
Me.
my favorite group. So we
Yep.
win.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So that's all those were my comments as I was watching the movie. I've got a little bit of trivia. The inscription around the Mirror of Erised, if you read it backwards, it says, I show not your face, but your heart's desire. Let's see. In order to understand what he believed, we're just going to go scattershot here. There's going to be wild ones.
Yeah.
Just totally unrelated to the previous one. In order to understand what he believed to be caretaker Filch's lonely lifestyle, David Bradley and his cat rented an isolated Irish cottage in which they lived for a month before filming began.
Aw.
wow.
He does love Mrs. Norris.
Yeah.
Richard Harris, who had been acting for more than 40 years by the time this movie entered production, stated he had never been involved with a cast that was as close as this one.
Aw, that's cute.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Chris Columbus stated in interviews that he was disappointed with the visual effects in this movie, saying that they were rushed and never up to anyone's standards, and he sought to improve them for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which came out the following year. But it didn't prevent this movie from being nominated for awards.
I didn't see a problem.
He probably had something different in mind. That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. 'Cause
Maybe.
we don't know what that would have been.
Yeah, does it look dated 20-something years
Yeah,
later?
of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I didn't think it looked bad.
I agree.
I really didn't. There's some movies that I'm watching, I'm like, oh my god, it's like not watchable.
Yeah.
This is completely watchable.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Nicholas Flamel, mentioned as the creator of the Sorcerer's Stone, has figured as a plot device in novels featuring characters such as Batman, Indiana Jones, and Robert Langdon of the Da Vinci Code. He was possibly a real alchemist born in France around 1330, who was believed by some people to have produced the actual Philosopher's Stone. Since there were mysterious circumstances surrounding his death in 1418, it has been rumored that he lived for hundreds of years. And
Whoa.
I love that.
this book and movie gets his age right.
That's
Like
cool.
it's like actually from what people think
That's
it
cool.
would have been. It's like 200, however many years.
Yeah,
800 years.
that's neat.
Quick question about the Sorcerer's Stone. So they say it produces the elixir of life, right?
You have to like
You
squeeze
have, to, like,
it.
what?
you have to like distill it
What
somehow.
Is do you dip the rock in water and it becomes that, or
Yeah,
like
that's a good
I never
question.
knew how you
Again,
make
Albus
that.
could have helped us out with all of this.
Just tell us, Albus.
Give me the process. So in the scene where Neville receives a remember all from his grandmother, which is basically a thing that comes up with like red smoke if you've forgotten something, and he's like, "Oh, I can't remember what I've forgotten." And it's like a stupid little like joke.
Yeah,
In that scene, Neville's the only student without his robe on,
that's cute.
so he must have
Ah.
forgotten the robe.
That's
That's
great.
so cute.
That's great.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Richard Harris often stated in interviews that he did not have much hope for doing the entire film series because he was already super old at the time. He was quoted as saying, "I'll keep doing it as long as I enjoy it. My health holds out and they still want me. But the chances of all three of those factors remaining constant are pretty slim." And months after completing work on the second film, he was diagnosed with lymphoma and suddenly succumbed to it, still with the hope of working on the third film.
Aw.
Wow.
Yeah. So that sucks. Let's see. Then I have casting. Oh, actually, first, the movie has the distinction of opening on more screens than the U.S. than any other movie.
Wow.
3,762.
Wow.
More than To Leslie?
Yeah, exactly. That was
Yeah.
by 3,760. Chris Columbus pitched his vision of this movie for 2 hours to the studio, stating that he wanted the Muggle scenes to be bleak and dreary, but those set in the Wizarding World to be steeped in color, mood, and detail. And he took inspiration from Oliver Twist and Great Expectations,
Oh, wow.
wishing to use that sort of darkness, that sort of edge, and that quality to the cinematography. And he took the color designs from a movie called Oliver, 1968, which maybe that's an Oliver Twist adaptation, and The Godfather. Yeah, it's crazy that like The Godfather came in the process for this movie.
Yeah.
So the rest of the stuff I have is mostly casting. 2 of the American celebrities who asked for a role in the movie without pay. Did you read these?
No.
Is one of them Robin Williams?
Robin Williams wanted to play Hagrid.
Yeah.
And Rosie O'Donnell wanted to play Molly Weasley.
Oh, my God.
Oof.
But J.K. Rowling wanted British Isles
Right.
actors. Additionally, Vern Troyer, born in Michigan, played Griphook, but he was dubbed by a Brit, Warwick Davis. And Chris Columbus's daughter, Eleanor Columbus, played Susan Bones.
Hey.
She never said a word, but still. Here we go. Casting Harry Potter was the biggest challenge. They saw 5,000 boys audition, and none of them felt right. Producer and director Chris Columbus saw Daniel Radcliffe and David Copperfield 1999 and showed it to the casting director and said Radcliffe was the one and that he was amazing. But she said they wouldn't get him because his parents it was the opposite. His parents wanted him to focus on his schoolwork and not acting, as well as all the attention he'd get. So they interviewed Harry Potters of different nationalities all over the world and still hadn't found him. She got frustrated with Columbus because he had his heart set on Radcliffe. By sheer coincidence, the producer and screenwriter of this movie went to a theater, and in the front row was Radcliffe with his father, so they talked and slowly persuaded him to cast Radcliffe.
Wow.
They just happened to see him in a
That
movie
is
theater.
serendipitous right there.
Seriously.
Yep. Alec Guinness was considered to play Dumbledore, but he died on August 5th, 2000, shortly the month before filming began. In addition to Steven Spielberg, we talked about Terry Gilliam and Rob Reiner. Other people who were considered for the director's chair were Jonathan Demme. He did Rachel Getting Married, right?
Yeah, great movie.
Mike Newell, Ivan Reitman, Tim Robbins, Peter Weir. Did Peter Weir do... Did he do The Martian?
No, it's written by somebody
Weir. And M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh my god.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah. Spielberg. Okay, so Spielberg recommended Shyamalan to J.K. Rowling. He was like, when he turned it down, he was like, you should give it to him.
Ugh.
And she at that point still wanted Terry Gilliam, and then obviously it ended up
Right.
being Columbus. But we talked about it being an animated movie. Tim Roth was a leading contender for Snape.
He would have been good.
He would
Would
have
have
been
been solid, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Tim Roth.
He was originally going to play Snape as well as General Thade in Tim Burton's adaptation of Planet of the Apes, which came out the same year, alternately working on both movies. But he felt it would just be too overwhelming, so he pulled himself out. And that's what I've got for casting.
That's fun.
Yeah. And then the Rupert Grint rapping thing. It's pretty good.
Iconic.
What else do we got? Anything? Roger Ebert gave this a 4 out of 4. He loved it. He, Also, I found out today, because I was talking to Alex, that the Rewatchables do a Roger Ebert segment every now and then.
Really?
I
Yeah.
did not know that. I'm not copying the Rewatchables. They're our heated rival. But I like them. I've listened to them quite a few times. But I did not. I'm just for clarification, I did not know that they also do a Roger Ebert segment.
It's
We
okay.
don't do a segment. We just talk about it.
I have a Roger Ebert segment written in my
Roger
thing.
Ebert segment.
But Alex was saying they don't do it every episode.
Okay.
But they do, like, every now and then they'll go back if there's, I guess, an interesting review or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he loved it. 4 out of 4. I don't have many like quotes. He just sort of summed up the movie, talked about the childish nature of it and how Columbus did a great job and how all the actors were great. And, he's reviewed how many movies from Richard Harris and
Yeah.
Maggie Smith and,
Yeah.
and all these people before. So they're all, some of his faves. So,
It's awesome.
yeah. So I think that's all I've got. You guys have anything else?
No.
2 little things.
Yeah, go for it.
One, really quickly, Ron's sandwich that he holds up on the Hogwarts Express.
Yes.
Love it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's so gross.
It's so gross.
Did he say what it is?
No, I always thought it was like a peanut butter and jelly, but I have no idea.
But it was like smashed into like
an
yeah.
orb, a sphere.
as if he like sat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I always thought that the troll's legs looked like Domino's pizza crust. Always to this day.
Oh my god, that's really
It
funny.
looks just like the pizza crust. And that's it.
That is awesome. Yeah, so also I just thought I would mention, hopefully we have done this. Our plan is we were supposed to have Birdie Bots every flavor beans that we were going to eat today on the show, but they didn't get here in time. So I think we're hopefully by this point we will have already done like an Instagram live or something that we will be mentioning on Instagram. So stay tuned for that because I don't know what's about to happen. Yeah, so does Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone make baby's first watch list?
Yeah.
Imagine this was the one where we were like, no,
Nah.
not this one. Chamber maybe, but like not Sorcerer's Stone. Do you have any takeaways?
Watch movies from your childhood because that's fun.
No, that's the one from last week.
Make sure that when you're in the dungeon, there's no trolls.
Or that when you're crying in the bathroom, there's no trolls.
If you see silver on the ground, run away
Yeah.
because there's something eating a unicorn.
Yeah. I'm going to go with one that is more like open your heart because like Harry could have easily just been like, what the hell is going on with all these weird people? Like, I don't like this whole thing. But no, he didn't. And he opened himself up to it and it changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
If you open yourself to things, if you don't close things off, then yeah, they could be great.
Manifest.
They might not be great, but they could be great.
They could be.
There you go.
That's
Harry
great.
would rather be the subject of attempted murder every single school year than live with the Dursleys for the rest of
That
his
is so true.
Completely.
life. And I think I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. That's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I think we want to do a thing where we have Alex on for every Harry Potter that we do.
All the Harry Potters. I'm in.
All the Harry Potters, all the Lord of the Rings, and Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings too. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So give us make sure you give Alex good feedback. Good feedback. We don't want any this is
We
a
don't
no
do
this is a
negative.
no bad feedback show. So yeah, so thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was fun. This is great.
Yeah. So next week we're going to be going back in time a little bit more and we're going to be doing the Patrick Swayze classic 1989's Roadhouse.
9 ends in 9.
Yeah, the 9 years.
9 years. We love the 9 years.
Yeah, Roadhouse, I just watched it for the first time a few weeks ago.
Never saw it.
I adore it. It's so bad, but it's so good. Definitely watch it if you haven't. Let me
Is
see.
there dancing in it?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
There's music in it.
Okay.
There's like a band that plays behind like a cage the whole time in the bar.
Okay.
Let's see where it's streaming because I didn't do any of this research this time. It's on Netflix. So check it out on Netflix or AMC Plus, DirecTV, Sling, any of those. It's the quintessential 80s movie, 80s action movie. He's got a little bit of a spin. He's not quite as macho as like an Arnold or a Stallone in that movie.
Cool.
It's great. The love interest is terrible like every single 80s movie. And the action is amazing.
I love Patrick Swayze.
And it's got some really, really bad quotes in it. But yeah, that's that. And this was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So rate, review, subscribe, follow. Anything else?
Lumos.
What? All right, Lumos.
Lumos.